Chapter 1426. Did they threaten you? Bai Hanmo asked Ding Ningdi as he stared coldly at the people in the room. How dare they touch Bai Hanmo's people? Ding Ningdi was extremely anxious. No, it's really not like that. Listen to me. Alright, I know what's going on with the Ding family. Bai Hanmo's gaze landed on Ning Shu and Ding's mom. Obviously, they think that you and Ding's mom are the murderers. Ning Shu looked at the two of them expressionlessly. Ding Ningdi tried to explain for a long time, but she didn't say anything useful. Why don't you say something? If you have something to say, just say it. I'm here today, so no one can do anything to you, Bai Hanmo said domineeringly. Ning Shu wasn't angry at all. I'm your fiancé. Shouldn't you give me an explanation for this? It's always others who give me an explanation. I, Bai Hanmo, never give others an explanation, Bai Hanmo said calmly. Ning Shu slowly lifted the blanket, got out of bed, and put on his shoes. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked at Bai Hanmo and Ding Ningdi. You're a thief and you're a prostitute. Shouldn't you give me an explanation? Shueching, how can you say that? Ding Yen was afraid that Bai Hanmo would be angry, so he immediately scolded Ning Shu. Ning Shu felt that Bai Hanmo's awesome identity was simply a boss. It was as if the Bai family was in charge of all the businesses in the world. Everyone else had to kneel down and drink the soup. He was the most awesome person in the world. What explanation do you want? I want to marry the daughter of the Ding family. Who said that the daughter of the Ding family has to be you? Bai Hanmo said slowly. Bai Hanmo said to Ding Ningdi, did they hit you? Treat them the way they treated you before. I'll back you up. You can do whatever you want. Ding Ningdi shook her head, looking timid. No, you should leave now. This is our family matter. Let's talk about it later. Bai Hanmo didn't look worried, but when he saw Ding Ningdi's pitiful look, his heart softened. You're the only one with a soft heart. Others have already bullied you and you still don't fight back. But as my woman, you don't have to be afraid at all. You can do whatever you want. Ding Ningdi still shook her head, as if she was used to being bullied and did not dare to fight back. Ning Shu, why did these people's love always have to trample on some people in order to appear beautiful and domineering? Bai Hanmo came to save the damsel in distress and stood up for Ding Ningdi. She could do whatever she wanted. He didn't even explain himself when he cheated on her. Now he even turned around to deal with his fiancée. Ning Shu felt that these two people were a match made in heaven. Bai Hanmo was right because he was strong, and Ding Ningdi was right because he was weak. The whole world's reason was tainted by these two people's reason. It was so annoying. Ning Shu stared at these two people, which made him feel nauseous. Go. No matter what you do today, these people won't dare to do anything to you. Bai Hanmo said to Ding Ningdi gently. Bai Hanmo's behavior was exactly what a woman wanted. He was cold and ruthless to others, but special to her. Forget it, don't be like this. Ding Ningdi shook her head and said, biting her lip, looking conflicted and scared. People who didn't know would really think that he had done something to Ding Ningdi. Ning Shu was sure that Ding Ningdi wouldn't do anything. She didn't need to do anything. She just needed to look weak, pitiful, and beautiful. She just needed a man to do everything. Ding's mom was furious. She had never seen such shameless people. The client and Ding's mom hated these two people to the core. Half of it was because of Ding Ningdi, and the other half was because of Bai Hanmo's attitude. Bai Hanmo's attitude was to trample on people. He didn't compensate them at all. Instead, he trampled on them like this. You're awesome, okay. The client and Ding's mom were driven out of the Ding family. On the surface, they said that they were vicious and even hurt their sister. In fact, Ding Yen had received Bai Hanmo's hint to give Ding Ningdi's mother a status. Ding's mom took over the identity of Mrs. Ding, so Ding Ningdi's mother was always a mistress, and Ding Ningdi's identity was also an illegitimate daughter. As long as Ding Ningdi's celebrity mother married Ding Yan, Ding Ningdi would no longer be an illegitimate daughter. In front of Bai Hanmo, Ding Ningdi definitely wouldn't directly say that Ding Yan should marry her mother. She would just say that her mother and father loved each other. However, Mrs. Ding took over the position of wife. As long as there was true love, everything was right. Anyway, these people didn't need to do anything other than love. Anyone who offended Ding Ningdi and looked down on her would be slapped in the face in the end. Ding Ningdi went to a banquet and was laughed at by the rich young ladies and young masters. In the end, she would be punished by Bai Hanmo. Ning Shu took a deep breath and waved at Ding Ningdi. "Come here. I have something to say to you." Ding Ningdi's face immediately turned as pale as paper. She clutched her skirt tightly and slowly walked over to Ning Shu. She looked scared but didn't dare to not go over. "Ning Shu, he met a woman who had a boyfriend." Bai Hanmo grabbed Ding Ningdi's arm. "You should go over when I tell you to. Why are you so obedient?" Ding Ningdi let out an imperceptible sigh of relief, which made Bai Hanmo's face darken. He could immediately imagine what kind of life this woman was living in the Ding family. Bai Hanmo made a decision and said to Ding Yan, "I want to marry Ding Ningdi. It's just a marriage between the Bai family and the Ding family. It's fine as long as she's a daughter of the Bai family." Ding Yan glanced at Ning Shu and Ding's mom and nodded. "Okay." Ding Yan agreed. Mrs. Ding was in a daze, and her body was as taut as a broken string. Ning Shu held Ding's mom's hand tightly and didn't let her be impulsive. There was no point in making a scene now. Ding's mom turned to look at Ning Shu with red eyes. Ning Shu shook his head imperceptibly. Ding's mom closed her eyes. Bai Hanmo looked at Ding's mom and the silent Ning Shu and smiled wickedly. He said to Ding Yan, "I'll marry Ding Ningdi soon. Ding Ningdi is my woman now. Whoever touches my woman will be touching the Bai family. Take good care of Ding Ningdi." "Don't worry about that," Ding Yan said immediately. Ding Ningdi's face was as red as the morning sun and she was very shy. Bai Hanmo turned and left. Ding Ningdi followed him to see him off. There were only the three of them left in the house. Ding Yan said to Ding's mom, "Don't worry. I'll find a good husband for Shueching." Ding's mom opened her eyes and shouted, "Get out." Ding Yan's face twitched and his expression turned ugly. He felt extremely embarrassed and turned around to leave. He slammed the door shut. As soon as Ding Yan left, Ding's mom grabbed Ning Shu's hand and said to Ning Shu with red eyes, "Shueching, my daughter, what are you going to do?" "What can I do? I didn't marry a cold-hearted person like Bai Hanmo. Fortunately, I didn't marry him. If something like this happened after I got married, it would be even more troublesome. If something like this happened after they got married, it would be terrible." Chapter 1427. But you should have been the one to marry into the Bai family. The Bai family has a prominent status in the business world. So what if they have a prominent status? Ning Shu said. "Mom, things have already happened. We have to make plans for ourselves. Don't worry. I will think of a way. I will not let that illegitimate daughter get away with this." Ding's mom grabbed Ning Shu's hand so hard that it hurt Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu's expression did not change. "Mom, I will not marry Bai Hanmo. It seems like Bai Hanmo is determined to marry Ding Ningdi. You can't take this lying down. You raised a vicious snake. You have been replaced. What will others think of you? When you're proud, you'll definitely be the icing on the cake. When you're down, who knows how they'll laugh at you behind your back. Shueching, it's all because I'm useless." Mother Ding hugged Ning Shu's waist and buried herself in Ning Shu's arms as she cried. Ning Shu patted Ding's mom's back gently and said calmly, "I don't care what others say. We have to prepare a backup plan. Now that Bai Hanmo is going to marry Ding Ningdi, everyone will follow him. If she wants to change her identity, we may be kicked out of the family. Ding's mom raised her head from Ning Shu's arms and wiped her tears. Ning Shu continued, Dad is a businessman. Businessmen value profits. I am also his daughter. But when I was wronged, he did not say a word. He was afraid that he would anger Bai Hanmo and cause the marriage between the Bai family and the Ding family to fail. He did not say a word. He did not hesitate. He may abandon us for the sake of profits. So we have to plan early, Ning Shu said with a serious expression. Ding's mom hesitated. I don't think so. Ning Shu said calmly, Dad has always been partial to Ding Ningdi. If Bai Hanmo asks Dad to marry Ding Ningdi's mother, then there will only be one position for Ding Ningdi. One will have to go up, and the other will have to go down. So, we can't take any chances. Mom, can't you let go of Dad? Ning Shu looked into Ding's mom's eyes. If anything happens to us, Dad will definitely stand by and do nothing. Let me think about it. Ding's mom rubbed her temples. Ning Shu was not in a hurry. Even though Ding's mom hated Ding Yen so much right now, she would not be able to give up on Ding Yen. Back then, he could even accept an illegitimate daughter. Now, he was so angry because of his own daughter. Women were always very tolerant of men. Besides, there were too many rich and powerful families. Men had the right to be free and easy. Many people turned a blind eye to it. Go and rest, Ning Shu said to Ding's mom. Ding's mom nodded tiredly. Ning Shu patted Ding's mom's hand and said, when you see Ding Ningdi, don't make things difficult for her. Don't get into a conflict with her. She has Bai Hanmo backing her now. If we use force, we will be at a disadvantage. Can you bear it? Ding's mom looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded. Of course I can bear it. It's useless to show off now. Okay, I can bear it too, Ding's mom said with a fierce look on her face. Ning Shu smiled. Mom is the best. Ding's mom glared at Ning Shu. How can you still smile at a time like this? Ding's mom was a model wife of a rich and powerful family. She was adorned with jewelry and kept as a mistress. When she had nothing to do, she would go shopping and do facial treatments. Ding's mom patted Ning Shu's head. I will definitely make you happy. Ning Shu nodded. Take your time. There's no rush. After Ding's mom left, Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed and began to cultivate. The Bai family had retired special forces soldiers as bodyguards. She had to be able to fight. The surrounding fiery yang qi surged into Ning Shu's body. However, Ning Shu found that the laws of nature had a great suppression on his body. In modern times, there was little spirit qi. It was impossible to fly in the sky. Even with the fiery yang qi, it was only slightly faster than absorbing spirit qi. The suppression was still there. Otherwise, they would repel each other. However, Ning Shu was very satisfied. Wisps of heat penetrated his skin and seeped into his muscles and meridians. His body felt warm. He felt very comfortable. Ning Shu cast a spell and decided to set up a fiery yang qi array. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door, followed by Ding Ningdi's voice. Sister, can I come in? Ning Shu's hand that was casting a spell paused. He had failed to set up the array. Ding Ningdi, who was outside the door, asked again, Sister, can I come in? I have something to explain to you. The array had failed. Ning Shu cast a spell and his fingers moved quickly. He said, You can't come in. I don't want to talk to you. Elder sister, there are some things that I need to explain to you clearly. Ding Ningdi insisted. Ning Shu said, Are you crazy? I told you that I don't want to see you. Sister, get out. The door fell silent. Ning Shu continued to cultivate. With the fiery yang qi array, the fiery yang qi array increased. The fiery yang qi array kept pouring into Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu was cultivating when there was an urgent knock on the door. Ning Shu opened his eyes and found that the sky was already dark. It was already evening. "Young mistress, please go downstairs. Something has happened." Auntie Li's voice came from outside the door. Ning Shu hurriedly got out of bed and opened the door. He saw the middle-aged woman, Auntie Li, with an anxious expression. "Young mistress, something has happened to madam." Ning Shu hurried downstairs and saw Ding's mom sitting on the ground. The left side of her face was red. She had been hit. Ning Shu hurried over and helped Ding's mom up. Ding's mom seemed to be in shock. Even when Ning Shu helped her up, her expression was blank. Ding Ningdi grabbed Ding Yan's arm. Ding Yan glared at Ding's mom angrily. "Father, don't be too rash. Auntie is just worried about big sister." Ding Ningdi said carefully to Ding Yan. "She is a selfish woman. She only cares about herself and her daughter. When will you spare a thought for me? Do you know how terrible it is for the Ding family to offend by Hanmo?" Ding Yan roared angrily. He was like an enraged lion. "You only care about your daughter. Have you ever thought about what will happen to the Ding family and the company?" Ding Ningdi was so scared that her pupils were trembling. Her eyes were watery. Ning Shu stood in front of Ding's mom and said coldly to Ding Yan, "No matter what my mother said or did wrong, you shouldn't have hit her. Fighting with a woman shows how capable and awe-inspiring you are. How dare you? I am your father, your father. How dare you talk to me like that? You eat and use my food. What's wrong with making a sacrifice for the Ding family? You are engaged to Bai Hanmo, but now Bai Hanmo doesn't want you. He wants Ding Ningdi. What do you think the Ding family should do?" Ding Yan and Ning Shu roared. Ning Shu wiped the saliva off his face. "Bai Hanmo asked you to lick his shoes. Did you do it?" In order to show how awesome Bai Hanmo was, everyone knelt down and licked him. Chapter 1428. Ding Yan's look of fear and trepidation was even more frightening than a courtier meeting an emperor in ancient times. It was as if he was afraid that if he made Bai Hanmo unhappy, his whole family would be executed. It was true that when Bai Hanmo stomped his feet, the whole world would tremble. Ning Shu glanced at the lovely Ding Ningdi and said to Ding Yan, "In your heart, I'm not a woman, I'm an enemy. If you were as obedient as Ning Dai, I wouldn't be so worried." Ding Yan's chest heaved up and down. Ning Shu sneered. "Dad, who is the cause of this? My fiancé was snatched away, and you blame me for being disobedient and disobedient. I didn't do it on purpose. I was framed. I was drugged by those playboys and accidentally bumped into my brother-in-law. I didn't know it was him at that time. If I knew it was him, Ding Ningdi's face was full of innocence. Tears were about to fall down and stick to her eyelashes, making them crystal clear. Ning Shu clicked his tongue and looked away. He took Ding Mom's hand and prepared to go upstairs. "Dad, Mom's biggest mistake was to treat you as her pillar of support, as the closest person to her. She only spoke to you because she wanted you to seek justice for her daughter," Ning Shu said to Ding Yan. Then Ning Shu and Ding Mom went upstairs. Ding Yan sighed deeply and rubbed the space between his eyebrows. "Dad, let me give you a massage." Ding Ningdi obediently massaged Ding Yan's shoulders. "This is all my fault. If it weren't for me and my brother-in-law, my sister and auntie wouldn't hate you." Ding Ningdi was very sorry. Ding Yan heard his daughter's words and his body stiffened. Then he said, "It's not your fault. Let me tell you something from the bottom of my heart. You are the best person to marry into the Bai family, because Bai Hanmo cares about you." Ding Yan said. Since ancient times, even heroes could not resist the charms of beautiful women. Ding Ningdi's face was red. She pinched Ding Yan's shoulders and said, "Dad, Mom has been waiting for you. Can you go and see her? I know it's wrong, but Mom misses you very much." Ding Ningdi stared at Ding Yan with a pair of watery eyes. Ding Yan was silent. Now that Ding Ningdi was going to marry into the Bai family, it was not bad to see Ding's mother. Ding Yan narrowed his eyes and thought of that female celebrity. She was very charming, especially in bed. "Okay, I'll go see her when I have time." Ding Yan nodded in agreement. "Thank you, Dad." "Thank you." Ding Ningdi immediately smiled like a flower. Her cheerful appearance could melt a man's heart. Ning Shu saw this scene in the stairwell and went downstairs with heavy steps. The smile on Ding Ningdi's face disappeared immediately. She lowered her head and looked very timid, as if she was afraid of Ning Shu. "Ning Shu, he. Ning Shu went to the fridge to get some ice. Half of Ding's mom's face was swollen. He had to apply the ice to her face. As for the scene of Ding Yan and Ding Ningdi's father-daughter relationship, she saw it all. She also saw the conversation between Ding Yan and Ding Ningdi. Ning Shu took the ice and went upstairs. Ding's mom was sitting on the bed. Ning Shu walked over, put the ice in the gauze, and gently pressed it on Ding's mom's face. Ding's mom hissed in pain. Ning Shu told Ding's mom everything he heard at the stairs. Ding's mom was calm the whole time. Even when she heard that Ding Yan was going to meet the female star, her eyebrows twitched. Ning Shu grabbed Ding's mom's hand and put some spiritual qi into her body. "What did you say to Dad? Why did Dad hit you?" Ning Shu asked. Ding's mom was silent for a moment and then said, "He told you to marry into the Bai family." "How is that possible?" Ning Shu said speechlessly. "I know it's impossible. I said it on purpose to make myself give up," Ding's mom said. "I didn't expect him to hit you. We've been married for more than 20 years, and this is the first time I've found your dad to be such a coward." Ding's mom sneered. Ning Shu put the ice in her face again. "It's said that one can be strong without desires. Dad is too afraid of losing what he has, but he also wants to suck up to Bai Hanmo too much." Ding's mom grabbed Ning Shu's wrist. "What kind of man is a man who can't even protect his wife and child? Shu Etching, what do you think we should do?" "It seems that Ding Yan is going to give up on me," Ding's mom said. "We can't leave this house with nothing," Ning Shu said. "I heard that Dad is going to meet that female star." To be honest, although they were in the modern world, Ning Shu felt that it was no different from having multiple wives in ancient times. Look at Ding Yan. He was going to meet that female star as if she were his concubine. Ding Ningdi was like a pimp. What happened next was that Ding Yan and that female star were really in love with each other. Ding's mom was a lady from a rich family. There was nothing that she couldn't do. When she heard Ning Shu's words, she started to think. Because of this, Ding's mom and Ding Yan slept in separate rooms. Their relationship as husband and wife was almost exhausted. In fact, since more than 20 years ago, Ding's mom had a thorn in her heart. Another woman came to her door with a child. She held her anger and raised this child, who was an eyesore every day. Now that the child had grown up, she stole her daughter's man, and now she was helping her mother steal her own man. She had really underestimated this delicate woman who cried so easily. Ding's mom had some shares in the company, and she usually had some money in her card. Ning Shu took out his own pocket money and bought the shares of the Ding family's company piecemeal. These things were all done in secret. Ding Ningdi always found an opportunity to talk to Ning Shu, but Ning Shu just ignored her. Even if she apologized, she was showing off. "I was wrong, but Bai Hanmo and I are really in love. Please give me your blessings. Or, sister, you should let it go." You will definitely meet someone better. Or, sister, I have nothing since I was young. I know you don't like me, but I have always treated you as my sister in my heart. Or, sister, please forgive me. If you don't forgive me, then I won't marry Bai Hanmo. Ning Shu, you really scared me to death. She was a classic example of pretending to be innocent after taking advantage. She stole someone else's man, and she still had to pinch her nose and grit her teeth to give her blessings. She was like a little white flower fluttering in the wind. She was so angry, but she still looked so innocent and pitiful with tears in her eyes, as if everyone else was a bad person. Everything I did was out of good intentions. How could you treat me like this? I am so lowly, and you are so high and mighty. You are so brilliant, and you are still fucking arguing with me. I just want the true love of my life, and you are still so cruel to me. You're heartless and unreasonable. To be honest, any woman who met this kind of woman would turn evil. But men liked it. They looked at her with a pair of admiring eyes that said, "You are my whole world." Men's vanity was unprecedentedly inflated. Chapter 1429. Ning Shu suspected that Ding Ningdi was deliberately provoking her, trying to make her have a conflict with her. If she was so angry that she lost her mind and did something to hurt Ding Ningdi, Bai Hanmo would tear her apart. Ding Ningdi only needed to be delicate and pitiful, acting like a weakling. If she was the one who had asked Ding Ningdi to provoke her again and again, she would have fainted from anger. Therefore, Ning Shu was very suspicious of Ding Ningdi's intention. She had taken advantage of Ding Ningdi, yet she still provoked her like this. Ning Shu did not pay attention to her at all. No matter what Ding Ningdi said, she would not be angry. And she never got close to Ding Ningdi. She kept a distance of 1 meter. And she always turned on the recording. No matter what Ding Ningdi said, she would record it. Seeing Ning Shu like this, Ding Ningdi felt very wronged. She cried and said to Ding Yen, "Sister won't forgive me. I really want to get my sister's forgiveness and blessings." Ding Ningdi was crying so hard that anyone who saw her would be soft-hearted. At the dinner table, Ding Yen directly said to Ning Shu, "You have been sulking for so long. It's time to stop. Ningdi really wants to apologize to you. Look at your cold face." Ning Shu put down his chopsticks and wiped his mouth. "I can't accept that my future man is my brother-in-law. Dad, can you accept that your lover is your sister-in-law?" Ning Shu spread his hands and said. Ding Yan's face looked as if he had eaten shit. "How can you say that?" Ning Shu shook his head. "I didn't say anything. I just can't stand that she has to show off her love after robbing me. I didn't." Ding Ningdi's eyes were wet. "Sister, why do you always think of me as malicious? I never thought of it that way. The things you do make me feel disgusted. You are full of malice." Ning Shu said directly, "You stole something, hid it secretly, and even came out to show off to your master. If you really feel sorry, then don't marry Bai Hanmo if you have the ability. I'll believe your sincerity. What's the use of apologizing? Saying sorry is not a sincere apology. It's better not to disgust each other." Ning Shu stood up. "I'm done." Ning Shu got off the table, and Ding's mom also stood up and went back to her room. "Dad, I'm sorry. I really want my sister to forgive me." Ding Ningdi bit her lips, her face full of guilt. "It's not your problem. It's their problem. Don't take it to heart. They are used to being arrogant and lofty. They don't want to live a rich life without the Ding family." Ning Shu stood at the top of the stairs with his bag and stared at Ding Yen. In Ding Yan's heart, even Ding's mom was dispensable. If he really respected Ding's mom, he would not fool around outside and even have an illegitimate daughter. Ning Shu coughed and decided to have a conversation full of affection. He ignored the awkward expressions on their faces and went out. Ning Shu went to find a private detective and asked for detectives to investigate Ding Ningdi's star mother. Ding Yan and Ding Ningdi's mother were still together. No, they had never broken up. Now, Ji Lu had already retired and was no longer in the entertainment industry. She lived a happy life with her daughter and Ding Yan's lover. She went shopping and did beauty treatments like a rich woman. It was not that easy for Ding Ningdi to clear her name. Ning Shu gave them a deposit. He needed to know the whereabouts of Ding Ningdi's mother, Ji Lu, and the dirty things between her and Ding Yan. After leaving the private detective agency, Ning Shu went to the pharmacy to buy silver needles. Ding Ningdi provoked her so much because she wanted to make her angry and hurt her. Then he would use the needles to prick her. The wound would not be visible. Since you asked for it, it would be inhumane not to satisfy you. Ning Shu received a call from home. It was from the servant, Auntie Li. Auntie Li said that something big had happened at home. Ding Ningdi had fallen down the stairs and was now in the hospital. Auntie Li told Ning Shu the address. Ning Shu hurried to the hospital. Something really happened when he was not at home. Ding Ningdi was indeed injured as she wished. She was injured in the Ding family. Bai Hanmo said that if Ding Ningdi was hurt in the Ding family and lost a single hair, he would have to bear the consequences. Ning Shu asked the nurse about the ward. When he opened the door, he saw Ding's mom kneeling on the ground. Ding Ningdi was lying on the hospital bed with one leg in a cast. Her face was as pale as a sheet. She seemed to be frightened and her eyes were blank. Bai Hanmo comforted her anxiously. He looked at Ding's mom, who was kneeling on the ground, and his eyes were as sharp as knives. Ning Shu walked over and helped Ding's mom up from the ground. He patted the dust off Ding's mom's knees. Making an elder kneel in front of a junior. This has never happened before. Ning Shu glanced at Ding Yan. This coward. I didn't ask her to kneel. Bai Hanmo looked at Ning Shu coldly. Her mistake can't be solved by kneeling. Ning Shu's face was cold. So my mother did something wrong. Oh, so it's my mother's fault that this woman fell down the stairs. Ning Shu looked at Ding Ningdi, who was lying on the hospital bed. Ding Ningdi's face was pale. Even her lips were pale, but she still looked beautiful. There was a kind of woman who, no matter the time, always looked the most beautiful. Ning Shu suspected that Ding Ningdi's every angle was trained by herself. If that was really the case, then the person who asked her to do it did not lose unjustly. In this world, it was either a man or a woman. It was either you conquer me or I conquer you. She could conquer all men's minds with one move. When Ding Ningdi saw Ning Shu looking at her, she shivered. She waved her hand and said anxiously with a red face, "Auntie didn't push me down the stairs. No, I was careless. I asked her to kneel down and admit her mistake." Ding Yan said, "The evidence is conclusive. In the surveillance video, it was your mother who pushed Ning Dai down the stairs." Ning Shu took a deep breath. It seemed that Ding Ningdi was in front of Ding's mom again. Ning Shu twitched the corner of his mouth. Ding Yan asked Ding's mom to kneel down to the illegitimate daughter, which was to torture Ding's mom's heart. The process of this matter was not important. In the end, it was Ding's mom who pushed Ding Ningdi. I won't let this matter go. No matter how you treated her before, this woman is mine now. You have no right to teach her a lesson. Bai Hanmo looked cold. Ding Ningdi wanted to plead for mercy, but she was interrupted before she could say anything. Don't plead for mercy. You are so stupid. She hurt you like this, but you still don't learn your lesson. Are you out of your mind? Bai Hanmo stared at Ding Ningdi angrily. Ding Ningdi lowered her head and did not speak. Ding Yan said to Bai Hanmo, "Child Bai, she is indeed wrong. Please forgive her. I will go back and teach her a lesson." While Ding Yan was talking, Ding's mom, who was next to Ning Shu, was trembling. Ning Shu held her cold hand tightly. Chapter 1430. Earlier, Ding Yan had asked Ding's mom to kneel down and apologize to Ding Ningdi. Now, he was saying something like this. He was pushing all the blame onto Ding's mom. Ding's mom didn't know how she was feeling right now. The two sides had been fighting to the death, and the hatred had accumulated over time. Ning Shu pulled Ding's mom behind him and said, "We still don't know what the truth is. Maybe Ding Ningdi fell down on purpose." "Get the hell out of here, and I'll believe you," Bai Hanmo said coldly. "Who would want to hurt themselves? Get the hell out of here." Ding Shu etching, "You should find a better excuse. I used to think that you were beautiful, but now, it seems that you are an idiot and a vicious person." Bai Hanmo looked at Ning Shu with disappointment in his eyes. Ning Shu's mouth kept twitching. "What the hell? What does it have to do with you? I don't need you to be disappointed. I won't let this go. Wait for my lawyer to come to you." Bai Hanmo's eyes were cold. "Otherwise, anyone can bully my girl in the future." Ning Shu looked calm. "Okay, you can hire a lawyer. If it is proven that Ding Ningdi fell down on her own, then it will be really embarrassing. The daughter-in-law of the Bai family is a woman who uses despicable means to frame others." Ning Shu sneered. "I'm fine, Bai Hanmo. Don't make this a big deal." "I'm really fine," Bai Hanmo said. "I'm really fine. What are you afraid of? I have your back. No one can hurt you now," Bai Hanmo said domineeringly. "As long as you get the hell out of here, I won't pursue the matter." Bai Hanmo pointed at Ning Shu. "I'll go," Ding's mom said. Ning Shu froze for a moment before he saw Ding's mom walk out of the ward. Ning Shu glanced at Ding Yan. Ding Yan turned his head to one side and did not say a word. Ning Shu's heart didn't waver in the slightest as he hurriedly followed. Ding's mom was standing on the stairs with a bodyguard in a suit next to her. It was obvious that Bai Hanmo had sent someone to spy on Ding's mom. She wanted to see Ding's mom rolling down the stairs with her own eyes. The bodyguard looked at Ding's mom with disdain. Obviously, he did not believe that Ding's mom would roll down the stairs. Ning Shu grabbed Ding's mom's hand and said, "Mom, you don't have to do this. I have a way. You don't have to do this." Ding's mom looked at the ward and saw that Ding Yan had not come out. She looked disappointed. "Mom." Ning Shu moved closer to Ding's mom's ear and said, "You don't have to roll down the stairs." Ding's mom pushed Ning Shu's hand away and rolled down the stairs decisively. She curled up into a ball. Her forehead had hit the wall and was bruised. Ning Shu hurriedly helped Ding's mom up and said to the bodyguard, who was a little surprised, "Tell your master that my mom has rolled down the stairs." Ning Shu carried Ding's mom on his back and went to find a nurse to bandage her wound. Ding's mom's head was dizzy from hitting the wall. She lay weakly on Ning Shu's back. Ding's mom was really strong-willed. She was deliberately torturing herself. Why bother? If it had been Ning Shu would not have rolled down the stairs himself. Instead, he would have dragged Ding Yan down with him. No, he would have kicked Ding Yan down. Ning Shu put Ding's mom on the bed. The nurse applied some medicine on Ding's mom. Ning Shu said helplessly, "Mom, can we not hurt ourselves? If we want to hurt someone else, we should hurt someone else. You've lived with Dad for so many years. Don't you know what kind of person he is? Why did you test him in this way?" Ding's mom said weakly, "Of course I know your dad won't save me. I've completely given up now. We have to keep that recording until the end." Ning Shu told Ding's mom that she had to be careful when she was alone with Ding Ningdi. "What did she say to make you so angry?" Ning Shu asked. "Even if you roll down the stairs, Bai Hanmo won't let us go." Ding's mom took out her phone. Ning Shu clicked on the recording and heard Ding Ningdi's voice. Auntie, I want to ask my mom to come to my wedding. Ding Ningdi's voice was full of pleading. Ding's mom refused coldly. No, the Ding family can't afford to lose face. Are you afraid of my mom? I'm afraid that my mom will appear in front of you. I'm afraid that my dad will see my mom. What a joke. Actually, I've always sympathized with you. Although you're Mrs. Ding, you're a pitiful person who can't even get your husband's love. Ning Shu heard Ding Ningdi scream. Ding's mom must have pushed Ding Ningdi down the stairs. Ning Shu turned off the recording. Even if Bai Hanmo wants to hire a lawyer, we won't lose. Ding Ningdi deliberately provoked you and instigated you to commit the crime. Why did I have to roll down the stairs? Ning Shu sent a copy of the recording to his phone. I'll remember this pain. The more painful it is, the more determined I am, Ding's mom said. Let's go back. Ning Shu supported Ding's mom. He knew what Ding's mom was talking about. She was talking about Ding Yen. It seemed that Ding's mom had completely given up on Ding Yen. Ning Shu helped Ding's mom into the car and got in the car himself. Ning Shu saw Ding's mom leaning against the seat and comforted her. Mom, don't be too sad. Actually, very few men are loyal to their family and marriage, Ning Shu said. Only morality and the law can restrain disloyalty and betrayal. Ding's mom took a deep breath. For so many years, I've tolerated Ding Ningdi, but he didn't show any gratitude. In return, he treated me with indifference. Mom, you don't have to be so sad. If you understand men, you'll know that all men are the same. Ning Shu turned the steering wheel. Mom, let's talk about men from the perspective of biological reproduction. Whether it's animals or humans, if a male wants to reproduce the genes he carries with him, he will want to mate with as many females as possible. Through continuous mating and mating with multiple females, he will pass on his genes. This desire to mate and reproduce is an instinct of male animals. So, a man's fickleness is engraved in his bones. Don't be too sad. Ding's mom. But you're being too absolute. Although your father is not a good man, there are still good men out there, Ding's mom said. Ning Shu nodded. I know. It's about self-control. Some men are able to control their instincts and become good men. Some people just let go of their inhibitions and let go of their natural instincts. As long as the conditions are right, very few men can control themselves. Ding's mom was not comforted by Ning Shu at all. Instead, she became even more worried. How old are you? How can you be like this? Mom, what I mean is that if you meet a good man, you should cherish him, but don't have too much hope for him. Chapter 1431. Generally speaking, the conflict between a man and a woman was uncontrollable. Women demanded different levels of loyalty, while men wanted to be strong for more resources. With more resources, there would be more women and more offspring. Just like the Lion King, if he was strong, he could occupy more territory and more lionesses. The two instincts of living creatures were survival and reproduction. Ding's mom looked at Ning Shu worriedly. Ning Shu. Am I being too direct? Well, there are still good men in this world, Ning Shu said. Ning Shu did not think that there was anything wrong with his thinking. Sometimes, when one had too high expectations of the other party, it would make one sad and disappointed. It was very painful to have one's fantasy destroyed in the end. Ning Shu was afraid that Ding's mom would look at him as if she was looking at a family member, so he changed the topic. How's the share collection going? When it came to business, Ding's mom's expression became more serious. Actually, the company has been doing well. The shareholders will not give up their shares. Especially since the Ding family and the Bai family are going to have a marriage alliance. If they follow the Bai family, there will be benefits, so basically, no one will sell their shares. There was a red light in front of them. Ning Shu stepped on the brakes. Take it slow. If the Ding family can't have a marriage alliance with the Bai family and the Ding family can't get any benefits, then it will be easy. I want Ding Yan to leave with nothing and let him and Ji Lu be together, Ding's mom said with clenched fists. True love, if Ding Yan really had such a day, Ji Lu would definitely abandon him. Ning Shu drove home and told Ding's mom to have a good rest. Ding Yan and Ding Ningdi were in the hospital. The huge villa looked empty and safe. Have a good rest. Don't do anything stupid. To be honest, Dad doesn't have you in his heart now. Even if you die in front of him, he won't feel anything. Ding's mom lay down and rolled her eyes at Ning Shu. Can't you say something nice? Ning Shu smiled and tucked Ding's mom in. Ning Shu returned to his room and set up a company on the internet overseas. Since they could not develop in the country, they were known as Bai Hanmo and the entire country's economy would tremble if they stomped their feet. He didn't have to defeat Bai Hanmo, but he had to at least have something that could keep the client and Ding's mom safe. It wasn't as bad as in the plot, where the rich young lady had to wash dishes. He watched Bai Hanmo pamper his wife every day. Ning Shu clicked on the mouse. What should he do? Even if it was a company, it should have a main product. Ning Shu propped up his chin and thought for a while. It was better to focus on cosmetics. She had beauty recipes in her hands, such as the 1,000 gold beauty cream and recipes to nourish a woman's body. There was also ointment for burns. It was pretty good to do medical makeup. Why don't you try and see if you can develop in the country? If you really can't develop in the country, then go overseas. It was easy to earn money from girls. Ning Shu wanted to go the high-end route, especially the ointment for burns. Ning Shu took out a notebook from the drawer, took out a pen cap, and wrote down a prescription. Ning Shu had learned these prescriptions from the divine doctor and the elders of the demonic sect when she was the demoness. Although some things were highly toxic, they were good for the body. Ning Shu was quite happy as she wrote down the prescription, because what she had learned was useful and useful. Ning Shu wrote down the ointment for burns, which was made with poisonous substances. Then she wrote down the beauty creams and divided them into different categories. After writing, Ning Shu locked the things in the cabinet and went to Ding's mom's room. Ding's mom was not asleep. Her eyes were red. When she saw Ning Shu, she quickly wiped the corners of her eyes with the quilt. Ning Shu sat by the bed and pretended not to see anything. He said to Ding's mom, "Let's move out. Ding Ningdi won't be safe at home. Are you asking me to give up my position? I'm still Mrs. Ding. If we leave, they'll be the only ones left. Father and daughter love each other deeply." Ding's mom said angrily. "I have to go out for something." "I'm afraid that you can't beat Ding Ningdi at home alone," Ning Shu said. "No matter what I say this time, I won't be fooled again. If you have something to do, you can go." "Don't worry," Ding's mom said. Ning Shu grunted. "Let's keep talking." Ning Shu changed into light clothes and prepared to go to the mountains. She was going to catch a 5-step snake and make burn ointment with poisonous scorpions. This ointment is called the 5-poison ointment. It's a mixture of snakes, scorpions, poisonous toads, poisonous spiders, and several poisonous plants. Ning Shu was fully armed. He could not be bitten. It would take a few days to go back and forth. Ning Shu lived in a farmer's house and then went into the mountains to look for poisonous animals. Generally speaking, if there were remains in a place often, it meant that it was an animal's nest. This was because it could only happen in a place where it stayed often. This meant that this animal was very dangerous. Not only was it fierce, but it could also be highly poisonous. Ning Shu wore gloves and held a pair of tongs in his hand. After wandering in the mountains for a few days, he was almost bitten by a snake. However, he finally found what he needed. He put the spiders and toads in a small jar and put the snakes in a bag. He drove back. Ning Shu rented a suite in a neighborhood and then began to boil the burn ointment. The snake soup in the medicine pot had been boiled until it was white as snow. Ning Shu then put in the other poisons and medicinal herbs. After boiling for a day, the ointment was finally finished. It was the same as the tortoise ointment. Ning Shu put it in an exquisite vintage bottle. Ning Shu smiled. It was done. Ning Shu returned to the Ding family. Ding Ningdi had been discharged from the hospital. She was sitting in a wheelchair with a cast on her leg. Ning Shu walked past Ding Ningdi and went upstairs. Ding Ningdi pushed the wheelchair and followed behind Ning Shu. She bit her lip and said, "Sister." Ning Shu stood on the stairs. "Don't talk to me. Sister, I'm sorry about what happened to Auntie. I'm really sorry." Ding Ningdi looked up at Ning Shu. Her eyes were wet and innocent. "Are you really sorry?" Ning Shu walked down the stairs step by step. He walked up to Ding Ningdi and looked at Ding Ningdi's leg. "Why don't you stay longer? Your leg is broken." "It's okay." Seeing that Ning Shu was willing to talk to her, Ding Ningdi looked surprised and scared. She waved her hand and said, "It's just a fracture. You just need to take care of it." Seeing Ding Ningdi like this, Ning Shu remembered that Ding Ningdi deliberately provoked Ding's mom before. How many faces could a person have? Ning Shu looked at the plaster cast on Ding Ningdi's leg. She bent down and patted Ding Ningdi's shoulder. "Take good care of yourself. If you sit in a wheelchair like this, when will you be able to marry into the Bai family?" "Thank you, sister. You still care about me. I thought you would never talk to me again." Ding Ningdi stared at Ning Shu with wet eyes. She kept looking at Ning Shu. Her eyes swept over Ning Shu's face inch by inch. It seemed that she wanted to see what Ning Shu was thinking. Chapter 1432. Ning Shu's expression was indifferent. Ding Ningdi could not guess what Ning Shu was thinking. Ding Ningdi smiled at Ning Shu and seemed relieved. "It's good that you can forgive me." Ning Shu reached out and patted Ding Ningdi's shoulder. "If I steal by Hanmo, will you forgive me?" "I." Ding Ningdi hesitated. Ning Shu sneered and turned to go upstairs. Ning Shu went to the room to check on Ding's mom. Ding's mom was sitting on the bed talking on the phone. Ning Shu stood at the door and waited until Ding's mom hung up the phone before walking over. "How have you been these days?" Ning Shu asked. "Nothing happened." "Nothing. I just talked to Director Zhao on the phone. Something happened to Director Zhao's family and he needs money. He said he's willing to transfer his shares to me." Ding's mom said. "What happened?" Ning Shu asked cautiously. "Our son got into trouble and is now in jail. He needs money to get through." "Don't worry. We'll talk about it after I investigate it," Ning Shu said. "If we rush, we might give ourselves away." Ning Shu took the burn ointment and went out. He also went to give money to the private investigator. He asked him to investigate Director Zhao's family. Then he took the burn ointment to Lien Min. The Lien family was also a top wealthy family. Lien Min was the eldest daughter of the Lien family. When she was young, she was scalded in the kitchen. The boiling oil poured directly on her chest and flowed to her stomach and thighs. She was naughty and went to the kitchen. As a result, she was scalded like this. Because of puberty, the skin on her chest was wrinkled. It was the most beautiful part of a woman's body, but Lien Min looked very scary. Ning Shu planned to use it on Lien Min. Ning Shu waited for Lien Min in the living room. After a long time, Lien Min came down from upstairs. Lien Min's expression was cold. She was fully dressed. But judging from her face, Lien Min was a great beauty. "Why are you looking for me?" Lien Min sat in front of Ning Shu and asked coldly. Ning Shu looked at Lien Min. Her hand was intentionally covering her front, which meant that Lien Min was very concerned about her body. Ning Shu took out the burn ointment and said, "This is for you. I found a secret recipe for burns. You can use it." Lien Min's face immediately turned incomparably cold. Lien Min hated it when people talked about her injuries. "It's very useful. Try it. Actually, my mother and I want to open a cosmetic brand. This is our signature product. It specializes in treating burns, knife wounds, and all kinds of scars." Lien Min's expression turned even uglier. "You want to use me as a signboard? Ding Shueqing, don't you think you're going overboard by poking at other people's wounds? Why should I be your guinea pig?" Lien Min's expression was cold. She stood up and said, "See the guest out." Ning Shu stood up and gently said, "I definitely want to make a name for the brand, and since you need this, the first person I thought of was you. Maybe it'll be useful. Then do you know how despicable it is to let others be disappointed again and again?" Lien Min's face was cold. "But if you don't try it, you might lose the chance to make your body more beautiful," Ning Shu said. "Okay, you can go. Leave the stuff." Lien Min directly drove the guest out. Ning Shu nodded and said, "Remember to use it, because it's really useful." Ning Shu left the Lien residence. When he returned to the villa was in a mess. Ding Ningdi sat in a wheelchair and kept complaining that her leg hurt. It was so painful that Ding Ningdi's tears and cold sweat flowed down her face. "Dad, my leg hurts." Ding Ningdi felt that the place where her bone was broken was being pulled back and forth. The broken bone rubbed against each other, and it was so painful that all the tendons in her body hurt. Moreover, the wound was burning with pain. "What's wrong?" Ning Shu walked over and asked. "Your sister's leg suddenly hurts." "I don't know what's wrong with it," Ding Yen said anxiously. Ding Yen was very anxious. If Ding Ningdi was like this, Bai Hanmo would say that they didn't take good care of Ding Ningdi. Moreover, Ding Yen was also very worried about Ding Ningdi. If something happened to Ding Ningdi's leg, it would affect Ding Ningdi's marriage to Bai Hanmo. The Ding clan had really lost everything. They didn't even get anything. Ding Ningdi was in so much pain that she was sweating profusely. Her hair was wet and stuck to her face. "Dad, it hurts. Help me," Ding Ningdi cried and begged. Seeing Ding Ningdi's painful look, Ning Shu said indifferently, "Take her to the hospital. I've asked the best doctor to come here. She's in so much pain." Ding Yen said anxiously. "What's the point of asking a doctor? Go to the hospital. There are all kinds of instruments there," Ning Shu said indifferently and went upstairs coldly. Ding's mom stood upstairs and looked down. Ning Shu asked, "What's wrong?" "She's acting up again. She said her leg hurts so much," Ning Shu said, spreading out his hands. "By the way, something did happen to Director Li's family. But when you made the deal with him, you asked him to keep it a secret." Ning Shu said to Ding's mom. Ding's mom nodded and looked down at the chaos below. She curled her lips. "Be careful. If Ding Ningdi's leg really hurts, we have to be careful of Bai Hanmo," Ning Shu said. Ning Shu told Ding's mom about starting a company and his future plans. Ding's mom listened carefully to Ning Shu's words. "That's good. Anyway, let's take it slow. Let's solve the problem between your father and me first." Ding's mom went to contact Director Li. Ning Shu saw Ding Ningdi, who was in so much pain that she was barely breathing, and sent her to the hospital. Ning Shu also went to the hospital. Ding Ningdi did all kinds of tests. They only found that the wound was a little inflamed and swollen, but they didn't find out why it hurt so much. Ding Ningdi couldn't stand it anymore. The doctor gave her a painkiller to slightly suppress the pain. However, the painkiller couldn't last long. Ding Ningdi was in so much pain that the blue veins on her forehead were throbbing, and even her body was convulsing. Bai Hanmo held Ding Ningdi's hand tightly and comforted Ding Ningdi. But it was so painful that tears and snot came out of her eyes. The doctor could only give Ding Ningdi frequent painkillers. The more frequent the painkillers were, the less effective they were. The pain made Ding Ningdi hover between life and death. She even wanted to commit suicide. Seeing Ding Ningdi like this, Bai Hanmo's face trembled. He felt so sorry for her that he clutched the sheet tightly with one hand. He turned around and stared at Ning Shu with his red eyes. If anything happens to Ding Ningdi's leg, I won't let you and your mother go. Bai Hanmo was murderous, and the pressure on his body was very low. She fell from upstairs and only had a fracture. Who knows if she was faking it or not? Even the doctor couldn't find it. What does it have to do with us? Ning Shu retorted sarcastically. If your mother hadn't pushed her down the stairs, she wouldn't have suffered like this. Bai Hanmo's eyes were full of murderous intent. Ning Shu said directly, you can do whatever you want. I'm not afraid. Ding Ningdi is faking it. Even the doctor couldn't find it. She was just imagining it. Chapter 1433. Ning Shu looked at Ding Ningdi, who was lying on the bed. The doctor gave her another injection of painkillers. But after a while, Ding Ningdi started to moan again. The pain made Ding Ningdi a little dizzy. Her body activated its self-protection mechanism and she fainted. Bai Hanmo was so scared that he shook Ding Ningdi, trying to wake her up. The whole hospital was in an uproar because of Ding Ningdi. Many specialists and doctors surrounded Ding Ningdi, checking Ding Ningdi's pupils and taking her pulse. Ning Shu was pushed to the corner and watched these people busy themselves. There was a surge of energy at Ding Ningdi's fracture. As long as the energy did not disappear, Ding Ningdi's wound would continue to hurt. Since she was so heartless to let others hurt her, then she would fulfill her wish. Ding Ningdi wanted to use her and Bai Hanmo's feelings for her to deal with Ding's mom and her client, who had neglected her and treated her badly since she was a child. She wanted to make you suffer so much that you would never dare to deliberately provoke others in the future. Bai Hanmo's expression was extremely ugly. He slowly turned his head to look at Ning Shu. If anything happens to her, you and your mother will die with her. Hearing this, Ning Shu almost thought that he was in another world. This was not something an emperor would say. Ning Shu waved his hand. Don't worry. It's just a fracture. She won't die. Bai Hanmo was so angry that he could die. Even if she didn't die, the pain was still a big problem. After the specialists and doctors worked, Ding Ningdi finally woke up. When she woke up, the first thing she did was to look at the other person with an extremely uncomfortable expression. Ning Shu's thoughts traveled again. At that time, it was also a girl who was tortured and asked her lover to kill her. In the end, he really did kill her. The most embarrassing thing was to overestimate your position in other people's hearts. Generally speaking, when one asked the other party to kill them, it meant that the other party wanted to save them, and they would do everything they could to save them. Otherwise, I will die in front of you. This was a hidden threat. Bai Hanmo grabbed Ding Ningdi's hand and touched her face. It's okay. I won't let anything happen to you. Ning Shu silently watched the two of them being lovey-dovey. He walked over and said, it's just a broken bone. Why do I feel that Ding Ningdi has cancer? Love that couldn't be cured from a car accident and cancer was the most tear-jerking. Shut up. Bai Hanmo and Ning Shu roared, can you be more vicious? You don't even think about others. Do you know how much she respects you in her heart? She's always thinking of ways to seek your forgiveness. I really regret that I didn't find a better Ding Ningdi when I was engaged to you. Can you change your personality? Don't build your happiness on other people's pain. I haven't done anything yet. I've always been magnanimous. It's all because of Ding Ningdi. Bai Hanmo rattled off a bunch of things. Ning Shu was expressionless. What are you talking about? Ning Shu looked at Bai Hanmo as if he was crazy. What right do you have to ask me to change? I don't want to please you, and I don't need you. I don't need you. In my world, I'm the most important. I know I'm good enough. So why should I change? What about you is worth me changing myself for? So what if I'm not kind? Did I eat your rice? She felt that Bai Hanmo had an inexplicable sense of superiority in front of her. It was as if she had to be inferior to him if she liked him. Therefore, it was said that whoever loved first would lose. Ning Shu originally wanted to get rid of the force in Ding Ningdi's leg. He was afraid that if Ding Ningdi continued to be in pain, Bai Hanmo would get angry and vent his anger on Ding's mom. After all, Ding's mom was the one who pushed Ding Ningdi down. Now, Bai Hanmo had said something like, "You're evil, you're not kind, you should die." Ning Shu happily decided to let Ding Ningdi suffer for a while longer. Ning Shu shrugged and turned to leave. After he left the hospital, he went to the pharmacy to buy some herbs to prepare the beauty cream. He also had some nourishing cream recipes. As long as he had the recipes, he could make these things successfully. However, there were some small tricks that required practice. Ning Shu gave the finished products to Ding's mom to try. Recently, Ding's mom had become much more haggard. Her daughter's fiancé had been snatched away, and her marriage was not going well. She was secretly busy with company matters. Ning Shu gave her the nourishing cream and the beauty cream. Ding's mom asked what these were, and Ning Shu explained them to her. It's good to do something to distract you, so that you won't keep thinking about Ding Ningdi and Bai Hanmo. Ding's mom took the things. I'll use them. Ning Shu, did Ding's mom think that she was doing these things to forget Bai Hanmo? She thought too highly of Bai Hanmo. No matter how handsome Bai Hanmo was, Ning Shu did not feel anything for him. No matter how handsome he was, he would just be a pile of ashes and an urn. However, although he was handsome and pleasing to the eye, Bai Hanmo's words were not pleasing to the eye at all. After all, she used to be his fiancée. How could he be so cold and heartless? In the blink of an eye, they became enemies. He did not even give an explanation. If this happened to anyone, they would be angry. Just like when Ding's mom hurt Bai Ningdi. Wasn't Bai Hanmo also angry? Didn't he want to take revenge? They were both people, so they reacted the same way. Only other people were evil. As long as they had an innocent and kind face, they were really innocent and kind. Ning Shu chuckled and did not explain. He said to her, "Try it. It will definitely work. It will make your face look like a peach blossom and make you look 10 years younger." Ding's mom thought that Ning Shu was just trying to make her happy, so she did not take it to heart. She said, "I got Director Li's shares, but it's still not enough compared to your father's shares. Let's create a scandal, as long as you are willing to do it," Ning Shu said. Ding's mom pursed her lips. "Do you have any ideas?" "As long as you are willing to do it, I will definitely think of a way." Ning Shu opened the jar of the cream and fed Ding's mom a spoonful. Ding's mom quickly drank some water and swallowed it. The cream was made with some herbs, so it tasted a little bit salty. "Remember to eat this every day." Ning Shu looked at Ding's mom. "Have you really made up your mind? Are you sure you want to divorce Dad and cut off all ties with him?" Ning Shu was worried that Ding's mom would be soft-hearted. Ding's mom drank the water and nodded. "I have made up my mind. Even if it's not for me, I will do it for you. If your father really abandons me, what will you do?" Ding's mom said, "Even if the company falls apart, I will not give her the position of Mrs. Ding in the company. Let them be free. How dare they talk about true love?" Ding's mom said angrily. Ning Shu felt that Ding's mom was holding on because of her resentment. When she was sad, she wanted to take revenge. After all, they had been husband and wife for more than 20 years. Ding's mom's actions hurt both him and herself. Chapter 1434. After all, she had high hopes for Ding Yen. Ding Yen could not even show her the most basic respect and loyalty. In the end, Ding's mom was the one who was hurt. Ning Shu actually wanted to say that she was hurting herself. She knew what kind of person her husband was, yet she still had high hopes for him. She was torturing herself. The real way to let go was to be indifferent to this person, to have no love or resentment, and to be indifferent even if he died in front of her. Mom, why don't we stop now? If you really can't bear to part with Dad, you won't be happy if we do this. Ning Shu said to Ding's mom. Ding's mom held the teacup. What did I say to your dad? He said that there is no future. What we are doing now is for ourselves and for our future. If we don't fight back, we will really be at the mercy of others. Bai Hanmo really cares about Ding Ningdi. With the help of the Bai family, we must be able to fight back. As long as we have money, we won't be able to stay here. Even if we go abroad, it won't be a hard life. Ding's mom said. Ning Shu let out a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Ding's mom would lose her mind because of love. As long as one of them was sober and didn't get carried away by anger, nothing out of the ordinary would happen. It's good that you can think it through. Why can't I think it through? Your fiancé is gone, and I have lost my husband. If you can think it through, why can't I? Besides, your dad is not that good. There is nothing that he can't give up. Ning Shu thought, we are really in the same boat. No wonder in the plot, they tried so hard to deal with Ding Ningdi. It was a life and death struggle, but the gap between the two sides was too big. Ding Ningdi's backer was almost unshakable. In the end, it was like throwing an egg against a rock. Ning Shu's phone vibrated. He opened it and saw that it was a text message from the private detective agency. Ning Shu told Ding's mom to be careful. She was going out. Ning Shu carried his bag downstairs and saw that Ding Yen had asked the servant to make chicken soup and was about to bring it to the hospital. Ding Ningdi was in so much pain. How could she eat it? Ding Yen did most of these things for Bai Hanmo to see. If he wanted to curry favor with Bai Hanmo, he would have to pretend to love his daughter. The private detective agency called and said that Ding Yen had met Ji Lu. It was really hard to comment on Ding Yen. He had his own thoughts. Ding Yen saw Ning Shu coming downstairs and asked, "Where are you going?" "Come with me to see your sister." "If I really go, Ding Ningdi will be in even more pain. She will cry out every time she sees me. Who knows what's wrong with her?" Ning Shu said directly. Ding Yen looked helpless and embarrassed. "Girl, I really don't know why you are making such a fuss. It won't do anyone any good. The Ding family and the Bai family are connected by marriage, so the Ding family will be considered in many business strategies. At that time, wouldn't the Ding clan be able to become a top-notch wealthy clan? This is something that benefits everyone. With the Bai family, you can also find a better husband. You will be more confident." Ding Yen said to Ning Shu, "If you make such a fuss, others will laugh at you." Ning Shu nodded. "Yes, my fiancé will become my brother-in-law. Who would dare to marry Bai Hanmo? Bah, damn you. Who would dare to marry a woman that Bai Hanmo didn't want? I am just a sacrificial lamb. If I am sacrificed, then so be it. But at least give me a stick and a candy." "I can't let go of this anger," Ning Shu said calmly. "Dad didn't say a word for me." Ning Shu looked at Ding Yen. This man could give up his wife and daughter for his own interests. He felt that the relationship between people was very cold and fragile. Husband and wife could turn against each other because of some things. Parents and children could also turn against each other and hate each other. When your sister's problem is solved, you can do whatever you want. You can ask for any compensation. But I only have one condition. That is, don't make a fuss. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Ding Yan left with the chicken soup. Ning Shu was expressionless. He shrugged and went to the garage to drive to the private detective agency. The private detective gave Ning Shu a stack of photos. In the photos, Ding Yan and Ding Ningdi's mother, Ji Lu, were holding each other's arms. They were acting intimately. Ning Shu looked at the date on the photo. It was from a few days ago. He really had a lot of free time. Ding Ningdi had a fracture, and Ding Yan came to comfort Ding Ningdi's mother. Ji Lu was in a black-rimmed bra and had an excellent figure. She didn't look like a woman in her 40s at all. She was extremely charming and had a good appearance. It was a gift from the heavens. However, her daughter, Ding Ningdi, was completely different from her. Their styles were different, but the essence was the same. He felt that Ding Ningdi was actually smarter than her mother. Men all liked kind and gentle women. Although seductive women made men feel impulsive, a woman like Ding Ningdi was a woman with a good family. She was beautiful and had a nice home, so she was more than capable of making men fall head over heels for her. Ning Shu flipped through the photos. Ding Ningdi's leg was hurting and she couldn't even take care of herself. Bai Hanmo's attention was all on Ding Ningdi. Then he would attack them one by one. Ning Shu took the photos and paid the private detective to continue to pay attention to Ji Lu. Ning Shu put the photos in his bag and carried it out of the private detective agency. Ning Shu took the photos home. He needed to discuss this matter with Ding's mom and ask for her opinion. After all, Ding Yan was Ding's mom's husband. Ning Shu gave the photos to Ding's mom and said, "I want to send these photos to gossip magazines and treat it as gossip." After all, Ji Lu is a celebrity. She is considered to have left the entertainment industry. But everyone likes gossip, especially when a celebrity has a sugar daddy. This was just the beginning. Ding's mom looked at the photos and handed them to Ning Shu. She said calmly, "You can do whatever you want." Ning Shu nodded and edited Ding Yan's face on the computer. He made his face look blurry and he didn't know who it was. What was the point of showing it so directly? It would be more interesting if everyone guessed. The photos were not photoshopped. At most, he had edited the photos of Ding Yan. After all, rich people and businessmen were in the entertainment industry. They were just trying to make everyone laugh. Ning Shu sent the photos to the magazine, the biggest entertainment magazine. After all, Bai Hanmo could bankrupt a small magazine. However, it was different for a big magazine like this. The magazine could make all kinds of news and the person who was exposed couldn't do anything about it. This meant that the magazine had a strong background. If they exposed something ambiguous, such as the female celebrity Ji Lu being a sugar daddy and giving birth to a daughter, the magazine would be very popular. Ning Shu didn't say who the daughter was. Ning Shu sent the photos and the magazine replied quickly. They thanked Ning Shu for the information provided by Ning Shu. They even gave Ning Shu some money. Chapter 1435. The magazine didn't pay much, only a few hundred yuan. Ning Shu didn't care about the money. He mainly used the magazine's channels, not only in print, but also online. The article was reposted by many people. It spread very quickly. After finishing these things, Ning Shu made some beauty products and planned to give them to other ladies. Ning Shu gave some creams to the rich ladies to relieve the symptoms of menopause. It was good for relieving abdominal pain, anxiety, precordial pain, headaches, dizziness, insomnia, and fainting. They were often irritable, emotionally unstable, easily angry, sometimes paranoid and depressed, and menopausal problems. Ning Shu gave out the creams, but the rich ladies didn't care. Ning Shu wasn't in a hurry. After all, the creams hadn't been effective yet. It was normal for them not to use them, especially when it came to stomachs. Ning Shu went to the hospital on the way and saw Ding Ningdi lying on the bed. They hadn't seen each other for a few days. Ning Shu saw Ding Ningdi for the first time and felt that Ding Ningdi had lost a lot of weight. Her chin was sharp. There was no color on her face. Even if she didn't pretend, she still looked pitiful. Ding Ningdi was in so much pain that she didn't have any energy. He was on the verge of death. Bai Hanmo stayed by the bed, like a suppressed volcano that was about to erupt at any time. He looked at Ning Shu with red eyes and extremely cold eyes. Ning Shu knew that Bai Hanmo's patience had reached its limit. If Ding Ningdi continued like this, she and Ding's mom would really be buried together. Ding Ningdi had been tortured to this extent this time. In the future, Ding Ningdi wouldn't dare to let others touch her. Ning Shu walked to the bed and reached out to pull the quilt for Ding Ningdi. But Bai Hanmo waved his hand away. "Don't touch her with your dirty hands," Bai Hanmo said coldly to Ning Shu. "I just wanted to pull up the blanket for her." Ning Shu was baffled. "You're here. What can I do to her? You wouldn't dare to do anything anyway." Bai Hanmo's eyes were sharp as he stared at Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu raised his hand and spread his fingers. "I don't have anything on my hand. Why would you be so kind as to help her pull the blanket over her? What do you want to do? Ning Dai's current state is all thanks to you and your mother. Originally, we were going to get married. But now, it's all thanks to Ding Ningdi that we're at loggerheads with each other." Ning Shu shrugged and said. "I don't love you. I love Ding Ningdi." "Then why did you get engaged to me?" "That's because I didn't meet Ding Ningdi. Ding Ningdi is in the Ding family." "Are you blind?" Ning Shu argued with Bai Hanmo and put his hand on Ding Ningdi's hand. "That's because I didn't know about Ding Ningdi's existence. If I had known about her, how could I have gotten engaged to you? Even if she is an illegitimate daughter, she is still a member of the Ding family. How could you ignore her like this? She has never attended any banquets." Bai Hanmo regretted that he didn't meet Ding Ningdi earlier and let Ding Ningdi suffer so much. Ning Shu retorted sarcastically, "Is it my fault that the organizer of the banquet didn't invite her? Although one couldn't choose one's birth, one's identity had to follow one's life. Birth was the original sin. In terms of whose fault it was, wasn't it Ding Yen and Ji Lu's fault? One was greedy for money, the other was lecherous. Then, it was all the fault of the client and Ding's mom. That was not the way to settle accounts. Who said you could touch her?" Bai Hanmo pulled Ning Shu's hand away. "If you touch her again, I will chop off your hand." Ning Shu touched Bai Hanmo's hand, which was red from the pain. He glanced at Bai Hanmo and looked at him expressionlessly. Then, he glanced at Ding Ningdi and turned to leave. She withdrew the qi from Ding Ningdi's body, but left some behind. This trace of qi wouldn't hurt Ding Ningdi much, but it would still hurt faintly. And it would continue to hurt. It would hurt even more on rainy and windy days. Although it was bearable, the pain would be torturous all year round. Ning Shu didn't want to withdraw his qi, but he was afraid that Bai Hanmo would deal with Ding's mom. Ding's mom had also rolled down the stairs. Bai Hanmo had promised to let Ding's mom go. But he had no principles in front of the person he liked. Besides, Bai Hanmo had always been arrogant and conceited. He always followed his heart and the heart of his lover. Ning Shu let out a long breath. People with power and influence were not easy to deal with. And he had to make sure that he could escape unscathed. After leaving the hospital, Ning Shu received a call from an unfamiliar number. A calm voice came from the other end of the phone. "This is Lian Min. Where are you?" "I'm coming to find you." Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. He wasn't surprised at all. He calculated the time and realized that the burn ointment he had given Lian Min should have been used up. Ning Shu gave the address of a coffee shop and Lian Min hung up the phone. Ning Shu looked at the phone. This child was really arrogant. Ning Shu felt that Lian Min was really aggressive. When Ning Shu arrived at the coffee shop, he saw a very eye-catching luxury car parked in front of the coffee shop. Ning Shu finally reversed the car and entered the coffee shop. Ning Shu entered the coffee shop and saw Lian Min sitting by the window, drinking coffee. Ning Shu walked over and took a sip of water. Lian Min put the coffee cup down gently. The cup didn't make any noise. Her movements were elegant and well-mannered. "Why are you here now?" Lian Min asked. "I was a little stuck in traffic." "Why are you looking for me?" Ning Shu asked. Lian Min's expression softened. "Do you still have the ointment you gave me last time? How's it going?" Ning Shu asked. "It's a little effective. I feel a little itchy." Itchy means there's an effect. It's the activation of the cells. Ning Shu said, "Although it's impossible to recover, it's definitely better." "So do you still have it?" Lian Min leaned forward and looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded. "Yes." "Okay, give it to me. I'll buy it with money," Lian Min said. Ning Shu waved his hand. "It's meaningless to talk about money." Ning Shu took out a few jars from his bag. "This is yours. This is for Auntie. It's for regulating endocrine hormones. It's for relieving symptoms of menopause. It's effective and helps me spread it." Ning Shu chattered. Lian Min kept all the bottles and jars. "If it wasn't for the fact that your things are useful, I wouldn't have bothered with you." Ning Shu chuckled. "Can you let me take a look at your wound? I'll prescribe medicine for you according to the severity of the wound." Lian Min's expression was a little cold. Ning Shu saw that her expression wasn't good and said, "If it's not convenient, then forget it." "Then let's go to the car," Lian Min said. Ning Shu got into Lian Min's car. Lian Min unbuttoned her clothes. Ning Shu saw that her wound spread from her chest to her stomach. The skin was twisted together because of the burn. It wasn't smooth at all. There was some pink. But it was daunting and a little scary. Lian Min quickly covered the wound and buttoned up her clothes. Chapter 1436. Lian Min's complexion was not good. Exposing her body's defects for others to see was even more uncomfortable than being stripped naked in broad daylight. Ning Shu grabbed Lian Min's hand and patted it. "You'll definitely recover." Ning Shu injected some spiritual energy into Lian Min's body. It was not the restless power of the fire. It could nourish the body and heal the wounds. Lian Min just snorted. "What are you going to do with your company?" Lian Min asked. "I'll customize it and go for the high-end route," Ning Shu said. "Do you really think that rich people are stupid and have a lot of money?" Lian Min glanced at Ning Shu. "As long as it's useful, people will definitely buy it. Help me advertise it and I won't charge you for the medicine," Ning Shu said. Lian Min nodded. When Ning Shu got out of the car, Lian Min thanked Ning Shu. Ning Shu smiled and said, "It's mutually beneficial." The magazine's gossip magazine came out, but there weren't many pages about Ji Lu. It only said that a has-been female star who had a daughter with a rich man couldn't even join a rich family. The road to becoming a rich family was difficult. Then it ridiculed her. People like Ji Lu who had retired from the entertainment industry and didn't have much fame were forgotten by the public. But Ji Lu was unhappy. She was not as miserable as the magazine said she was, except for the title of Mrs. Ding. Having a daughter in Ding Yen was much more comfortable than being in the entertainment industry. She didn't have to deal with directors and producers every day. Moreover, her daughter was going to marry into the Bai family, to Bai Hanmo, who all women wanted. Bai Hanmo was going to be her son-in-law. Ji Lu was so angry that she called Ding Ningdi to complain. Ding Ningdi felt a little better and didn't hurt as much. When she heard her mother's words, she looked worried. However, Ding Ningdi didn't tell Bai Hanmo directly. She was always in a daze and not in the right state. Seeing Ding Ningdi like this, Bai Hanmo would definitely ask her what had happened to Ding Ningdi. He asked again, but Ding Ningdi didn't say anything. She just said worriedly that she was fine. He asked again, but Ding Ningdi still didn't say anything. She was still worried and said that she was fine. Even if Ding Ningdi didn't say anything, Bai Hanmo would definitely be able to find out the relationship between Ding Ningdi's mother and Ding Yan. Bai Hanmo immediately ordered the magazine to withdraw the news. Magazine publisher, the magazine has already been sold. How can we withdraw it? Besides, it's just gossip about a has-been female celebrity. It's not like it's a headline. Was it worth being so uptight? Besides, no one knew how much the magazine had exposed. Whether it was true or false, it was just to amuse the public. Since he wasn't allowed to send it out, why didn't he say so earlier? Some celebrities were afraid of scandals, so they would give the magazine some money in advance to cover up the matter. Faced with Bai Hanmo's tough attitude, the magazine publisher could only compromise. But how could they withdraw the magazine that had been sold? They could only pretend to be polite and sincerely say that they would do it. But in private, they would do whatever they wanted. Bai Hanmo didn't tell Ding Ningdi until he solved the problem. When Ding Ningdi heard that Bai Hanmo had solved the problem, she immediately widened her eyes and looked at Bai Hanmo in surprise. This kind of look could make a man's blood boil and his vanity swell. Ding Ningdi told Bai Hanmo about her parents. Anyway, she said that the two of them were really in love, but because of Mrs. Ding. She said that her mother loved her father and had been enduring humiliation and bearing the reputation of being a mistress. In short, Ji Lu felt so wronged. Bai Hanmo frowned. He didn't care about Ji Lu, but he couldn't let others use Ding Ningdi's family background to attack her. So Bai Hanmo, the prospective son-in-law, actually intervened in his future father-in-law's family affairs and interfered in the affairs between his father-in-law and his wife. He warned Ding Yan to give Ding Ningdi a status. He wanted her to get rid of her identity as an illegitimate daughter. Ding Yan sighed. After hesitating for a long time, he decided to tell Ding's mom everything. At dinner time, Ding Yan went upstairs to invite Ding's mom to dinner. Ning Shu saw Ding Yan's hesitant look and guessed that it must be about the magazine. Ding's mom ate without saying a word, ignoring Ding Yan who wanted to say something. In the end, Ding Yan put down his chopsticks and said to Ding's mom, "I have something to discuss with you." "What is it?" "If it's about a divorce, I definitely won't agree to it," Ding's mom said directly. Ding's mom had already prepared herself for this, but when the moment came, all of Ding's mom's worries disappeared. Ding Yan choked and said helplessly, "I'm doing this for the Ding family. You know, Ding Ningdi's identity as an illegitimate daughter is too embarrassing. What if the Bai family doesn't like it? The arrow is already on the bow. If we annoy Bai Hanmo, what if he doesn't marry Bai Ningdi? Both of our daughters have been rejected by Bai Hanmo. What should we do?" Anyway, Ding Yan was innocent and helpless. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and looked at Ding's mom. Ding's mom said calmly, "So, you plan to sell your wife for glory?" Ding Yan's eyelids twitched. "Don't make it sound so bad. Sometimes, people are just lucky." Xueqing should have been the one to marry into the Bai family, but Bai Hanmo chose Ningdi. This is Ningdi's luck. It's better to take advantage of the situation. In fact, rich people were quite superstitious. Ding Yan's words were not wrong. What if I don't divorce? Ding's mom said coldly, "I'm a coward. No matter how nice it sounds, I'm still a coward." Seeing that Ding's mom did not fly into a rage, Ding Yan felt that there was a chance, so he discussed it with Ding's mom. "As long as you divorce, I won't treat you badly." Ding's mom looked at Ding Yan in disbelief. "If I didn't give birth to Xueqing, I would have suspected that she was not your biological daughter. You only have Ding Ningdi in your heart. Ding Yan sighed. Of course she is my daughter, but now she has to suffer. The Bai family is powerful. There is no benefit in fighting them head-on. Although the reed is small, it can be intact with the wind. No matter how big the tree is, it can't win against the wind. Ding Yan said, I don't want it to be ugly in the end. Drifting with the wind and going with the flow, it was not up to them. Ning Shu said, a reed will always be a reed. It can only be as tall as a person, but a tree can grow into a towering tree and take root in the ground. It can grow taller and stronger than a reed. Under the destruction of the strong wind, a towering tree was stronger than a reed. Ding's mom wiped her mouth. Let me think about it. Think about it carefully, but give me an answer quickly. Bai Hanmo is urging you, Ding Yan said. Ning Shu twitched the corner of his mouth. Bai Hanmo was doing this to make Ding Ningdi happy. He even wanted to control his father-in-law's wife. He was in charge of everything in the world. Ding's mom stood up and left the table. Ning Shu followed Ding's mom upstairs. Ding Yan stopped Ning Shu. Talk to your mother. Ning Shu. Chapter 1437. Mobile users, please visit this wonderful novel at any time. Ding Yan asked Ning Shu to help persuade Ding's mom. Ning Shu looked at Ding Yan with a stifled heart. How do you expect me to say something like that? Ning Shu asked. You want me to persuade you when you're husband and wife? Moreover, you're asking for a divorce instead of a marriage. This was the first time Ning Shu had encountered such a situation. Ning Shu asked Ding Yan, is it really that important to you to be associated with the Bai family? You're willing to break up with your family and disregard your friendship. You and mom have been husband and wife for more than 20 years. 20 years is almost a third of your life. Even a rock should be warmed up by now. How could Ding Yan talk about divorce so easily? Money was just a worldly possession. People pursued money and power because these things could give them great strength and allow them to protect what they wanted to protect. But for these things, wasn't it a bit of putting the cart before the horse? With the Ding family's strength, even if they didn't rely on the Bai family, they could still survive. Why did they have to do this? Ding Yan sighed and said helplessly, your father is also riding a tiger and can't get off now. Ning Shu said directly, you're in a difficult position because you want everything. Even his wife of more than 20 years was going to be abandoned for a moment of glory and wealth. Was the Ding family so poor that they couldn't afford to eat? Why did they have to be so humble? The Ding family's money was more than enough to last them a lifetime. They had become slaves to money. Ding Yan said to Ning Shu, Shueching, you'll always be my daughter. Everything I do is for the Ding family. I definitely won't let you and your mother suffer. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu went upstairs. When he entered the room, he saw Ding's mom wiping her tears. Ning Shu sat beside her and asked, are you still sad? These are tears of regret. I regret that I didn't leave a man like your father earlier. My youth has been wasted. Ding's mom wiped away her tears. Is that so? I thought you were so sad that you couldn't control yourself. Ning Shu said with a smile. Why are you still talking to me like this at a time like this? There are even worse. Dad asked me to persuade you to get a divorce, Ning Shu said. Seriously, Ning Shu's Ding's mom said, what are you going to do? How's our share collection coming along? Ning Shu asked. Ding's mom said, Director Li and Director Zhao are still not enough. Plus, I bought the shares at a premium price. I don't have much money left, Ding's mom said. Ning Shu's Ding's mom said, do you really want to divorce Dad? Yes. Ning Shu said again, since Dad said that he would make it up to you, he will definitely make it up to you. Ding's mom glanced at Ning Shu and said, you are so full of ideas. But the shares are your father's life. He won't give them to me. You can try. The next day at dinner, Ding's mom said to Ding Yen, I've thought it through. I agree to the divorce. Ding Yen suddenly smiled. Seeing Ding Yan's relieved expression, Ding's mom's face turned cold. After all this time, she had become Ding Yan's burden. I can get a divorce, but I have one condition, Ding's mom said. What conditions do you have? Ding Yen drank a mouthful of water, his expression relaxed. I want the shares in your hands, all of them, Ding's mom said with a cold face. Pfft. Ding Yen spat out the water in his mouth. He pounded his chest and stared at Ding's mom with his eyes wide open. What did you say? All of the shares. Ding Yan's face darkened. Do you know what you are talking about? You want all of the shares. Ding Yan's expression was as if he wanted to send her to heaven. No. Ding Yan refused directly. If he gave her all of the shares, he wouldn't be able to do anything at the board meeting. Everything he did was for the company, so that he could have more power in the company. Then forget it. Without the shares, I won't divorce you, Ding's mom said firmly. If you insist on the shares, use something else. How about I give you money? Tell me how much you want, Ding Yen said. Ding Yen was very reluctant to give up the shares. I don't want anything except the shares. Money is dead money. The shares are the best, Ding's mom said calmly. Ding Yen was very annoyed. Seeing Ding's mom's determined expression, Ding Yen was even more annoyed. He wanted to flip the table. Ding Yen rubbed his eyebrows and looked at Ning Shu who was drinking soup. Try to persuade her. Ning Shu almost choked on the soup. He wiped his mouth and said, Dad, you have to give up something to get something. Mom can't be at peace. You have to give her something to make it up to her. Except for the shares, I can give her anything else, Ding Yen said. Ning Shu spread his hands. But Mom only likes the shares. Only the shares? Ding Yen asked. Ding's mom said calmly, after all, I sacrificed myself for the Ding family to get close to the Bai family. Since the Ding family is going to be successful, I have to get a share of the glory, right? If you don't agree, then we have to go to court. You are the one at fault in the marriage. You cheated and gave birth to an illegitimate daughter. These are all evidence. I didn't compare before, but now I will never back down, Ding's mom said coldly. You want to go to court with me and let everyone know that Ding Ningdi's mother is your lover. You want everyone to know that Ding Ningdi is an illegitimate daughter. Ding's mom sat calmly. She was not anxious at all. Whether they divorced or not, it was the same for Ding's mom. Moreover, everyone knew Ding Ningdi's identity. Even if they did not say it out loud, they would still go to court. But if they did, they would expose this piece of paper. Especially the marriage agreement between Ding Xueqing and Bai Hanmo, where the woman suddenly changed. These things would cause Ding Ningdi to suffer a lot of criticism, causing her to fall into a disaster of words. Therefore, Ding's mom had a way out no matter what. Ding Yan's face trembled. Do you have to fight to the death? It's impossible to give you all the shares. 1%. Ding's mom said, 90% of the shares. I left some for you. Ding Yan's face twitched. 2%. Ning Shu drank the soup and watched Ding's mom and Ding Yan bargain. Ding's mom refused to budge. Ding Yan gritted his teeth and the veins on his forehead bulged. 30%, Ding Yan said. Ding's mom shook her head. That's too little. Ding Yan slammed his hand on the table. With a bang, the bowls and chopsticks on the table shook. Ning Shu saw that Ding Yan's eyes were bulging and bloodshot. Ning Shu blinked at Ding's mom. This was already Ding Yan's bottom line. If he made a fuss again, Ding Yan would not do the same. Ding's mom was dissatisfied and reluctantly agreed. Then 30% of the shares, but you have to give me money. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. If you think this chapter is good, don't forget to recommend it to your friends on QQ and Weibo. Chapter 1438. Ding Yan was breathing heavily. Ning Shu put down the spoon and said, "I'm going to type the contract." Ning Shu went to the study to print out the share transfer agreement. Then he went downstairs with a pen. Ding Yan looked very angry. Ning Shu gave the contract to Ding's mom, and Ding's mom signed it quickly. Then she pushed the contract to Ding Yan. Ding Yan picked up the pen and was about to sign it when he put it down. Ding's mom said sarcastically, "What? Are you going back on your word?" Ding Yan said, "What if I transfer the shares to you and you don't divorce me?" "Dad, the terms of the divorce are written in the contract. Do you want me to type another one?" Ning Shu asked. "You are quite proactive." Ding Yan didn't like anyone now. "You asked me to persuade Mom to divorce you before, and I did. Now that you are getting a divorce, I didn't make a fuss about it. You are blaming me. I feel that my daughter is very difficult in front of you," Ning Shu said helplessly. Seeing Ning Shu's aggrieved look, Ding Yan wanted to hit her. This was the result of his persuasion. The 30% shares that he held were gone. But if he didn't divorce, Bai Hanmo urged him to do it. He said that after Ding Ningdi was discharged from the hospital, Bai Hanmo was going to get married with Ding Ningdi. The problem of Ding Ningdi's identity had to be solved. Ding Yan's feelings were indescribable. Seeing that Bai Hanmo cared so much about his daughter, he was naturally happy. But 30% of his shares were gone. Ding Yan felt as if his heart was being cut by a knife. He couldn't trap the wolf without sacrificing the child. "What are you waiting for? Go and type the divorce agreement." Ding Yan shouted at Ning Shu. Ning Shu typed up 2 divorce agreements. Ding's mom and Ding Yan signed the share transfer agreement and the divorce agreement at the same time. Now, Ding's mom and Ding Yan were officially divorced. Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief. Now, Ding's mom had a lot of power in her hands. Ding Yan wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and asked, "When will you move out?" Ding's mom put away the documents and said without looking at Ding Yan, "They can move out right away." After that, Ding's mom put away all of her belongings. Jewelry, valuables, and even shampoo were all put away. The bedsheets and blankets were cut and the large pieces of furniture were smashed. Ding Yan heard the noise and went upstairs to see the messy room. He rubbed his eyebrows. "Can it not be like this? I set up these things myself when I was free. I don't want that woman to use my things. It's disgusting. Whatever." Ding Yan waved his hand. He didn't expect Ding's mom to be gentle with him again. Ning Shu also packed up his things and dragged the suitcase downstairs with Ding's mom. "Are you leaving too?" Ding Yan asked Ning Shu. "Of course I'm leaving with my mom. Do you think I'm going to stay?" Ning Shu shrugged and held Ding's mom's hand. Together with Ding's mom, they dragged the suitcase and walked out of the living room with their heads held high. They didn't look like they were chased out in the movie. Ning Shu went to the garage to get the car and took Ding's mom to the rented apartment. "How many shares do we have now?" Ning Shu asked Ding's mom. "Compared to your dad, it's quite little. Your dad has the most shares in the company, and the rest are in the hands of a few big shareholders. We're buying the shares of the small shareholders. Many a little makes a mickle. Let's take it slow," Ning Shu said casually. "And didn't Dad write a check for us? We can definitely buy a lot of shares with this money. If we can't, we can just buy the shares in the hands of the shareholders. Although it's very little, it's still money." Ding's mom smiled and said, "It's not easy to get 30% of the shares from your dad. This money is enough for us to settle down. Ning Shu nodded. At least they wouldn't be as down and out as they were in the movie. Ning Shu and Ding's mom stayed in the rented apartment for the time being. The apartment was very big and had everything they needed. However, there was a smell of medicine. They smelled it the moment they entered the apartment. You've been tinkering with this every day? Ding's mom looked at the bottles and jars. Yes. Look at you. You look a lot better recently. After Ding Yen and Ding's mom got divorced, Ding Yen immediately told Ding Ningdi, who was in the hospital. He told Ding Ningdi that he was going to marry her mother. Ding Ningdi opened her watery eyes wide. She was stunned at first, and then burst into tears of joy. My mom finally got this day. Thank you, Dad. Ding Ningdi was crying and laughing at the same time. She was so happy that she couldn't control herself. Seeing Ding Ningdi like this, Ding Yen felt that his 30% shares were worth it. Ding Yen was counting on Ding Ningdi to help the Ding family. Ding Yen sighed and said, "It's just that the 30% shares were taken away by them. I was going to give them to you as a dowry." Ding Ningdi pouted. "They're so mean. Dad, they're just taking advantage of you. I know. If I don't give them the shares, they won't divorce me. I can't let you marry Bai Hanmo as an illegitimate daughter. I know you've suffered all these years. Live a good life with Bai Hanmo from now on. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad." Ding Ningdi was so moved that she burst into tears. Ding Ningdi felt that this was all there was to a happy life. Her mom was finally married to her dad, and she had met the man of her life. Ding Ningdi was in a good mood and felt much better. She didn't want to stay in the hospital anymore. The cast was removed, and her leg was fine. Although it still hurt a little, it would pass soon. She could use a wheelchair for now. Although her leg was injured, her mom and dad got married in exchange. Ding Ningdi touched her leg and felt a little regretful. She was either lying in bed or sitting in a wheelchair. Ding Ningdi's heart was covered with a shadow. Ding Ningdi tried to stand up, but she felt tired after a few steps. When she walked, she felt a little pain. The doctor said that the wound hadn't healed and she needed more rest. Ding Ningdi felt even more upset. She hated Ding's mom for pushing her down. She also regretted getting close to Ding's mom. Ding Ningdi was angry. When she called Bai Hanmo, she secretly told him that her leg might have some hidden disease. She asked Bai Hanmo if he would abandon her. Bai Hanmo was unhappy when he heard that Ding Ningdi's leg might have some hidden disease. He went to the Ding family to make trouble. However, when he arrived at the Ding family, he was told that she had left. Now, even Ding Yen didn't know where Ding's mom had gone. Bai Hanmo sat on the sofa, exuding a cold aura all over his body. Ding Yen felt that he was in trouble. Everything he did was wrong. Chapter 1439. For mobile users, please visit this wonderful novel at any time. Ding Yen was breathing heavily. Ning Shu put down the spoon and said, "I'm going to type the contract." Ning Shu went to the study to print out the share transfer agreement. Then he went downstairs with a pen. Ding Yen looked very angry. Ning Shu gave the contract to Ding's mom, and Ding's mom signed it quickly. Then she pushed the contract to Ding Yen. Ding Yen picked up the pen. When he was about to sign it, he put down the pen. Ding's mom said sarcastically, "What? Are you going back on your word?" Ding Yen said, "What if I transfer the shares to you, but you don't divorce me?" "Dad, the conditions of divorce are written in the contract. Do you want me to type another one?" Ning Shu asked. "You are quite proactive." Ding Yen didn't like anyone now. "You asked me to persuade Mom to divorce you before, and I did. Now you are getting a divorce, and I didn't make a fuss. Instead, I was busy, and now you are blaming me. I feel that my daughter is very difficult in front of you, Ning Shu said helplessly. Seeing Ning Shu's aggrieved look, Ding Yan wanted to hit her. This was the result of his persuasion. The 30% shares that he held were gone. But if he didn't divorce her, Bai Hanmo kept urging him. He said that after Ding Ningdi was discharged from the hospital, Bai Hanmo was going to get married with Ding Ningdi, and the problem of Ding Ningdi's identity had to be solved. Ding Yan's feelings were indescribable. Seeing that Bai Hanmo cared so much about his daughter, he was naturally happy. But 30% of the shares were gone. Ding Yan felt as if his heart was being cut by a knife. He couldn't trap the wolf without sacrificing the child. What are you waiting for? Go and sign the divorce papers. Ding Yan and Ning Shu roared. Ning Shu typed up 2 divorce agreements. Ding's mom and Ding Yan signed the share transfer agreement and the divorce agreement at the same time. Now, Ding's mom and Ding Yan were officially divorced. Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief. Now, Ding's mom had a lot of power in her hands. Ding Yan wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and asked, "When will you move out?" Ding's mom put away the documents and said without looking at Ding Yan, "They can move out right away." After that, Ding's mom put away all of her belongings. Jewelry, valuables, and even shampoo were all put away. The bedsheets and blankets were cut and the large pieces of furniture were smashed. Ding Yan heard the noise and went upstairs to see the messy room. He rubbed his eyebrows and said, "Can you not do this? I set up these things myself when I was free. I don't want that woman to use my things. I feel disgusted." "Whatever." Ding Yan waved his hand. He didn't expect Ding's mom to be gentle with him again. Ning Shu also packed up his things and dragged the suitcase downstairs with Ding's mom. "Are you leaving too?" Ding Yan asked Ning Shu. "Of course I'm leaving with my mom. Do you think I should stay?" Ning Shu shrugged and held Ding's mom's hand. Together with Ding's mom, they dragged the suitcase and walked out of the living room with their heads held high. They didn't look like they were chased out in the movie. Ning Shu went to the garage to get the car and took Ding's mom to the rented house. "How many shares do we have now?" Ning Shu and Ding's mom asked. "Compared to your dad, it's still quite little. Your dad has the most shares in the company, and the rest are in the hands of a few major shareholders. We're buying the shares of the minor shareholders. Many a little makes a mickle. Let's take it slow," Ning Shu said casually. "Besides, didn't Dad write us a check? We can definitely buy a lot of shares with this money. If we can't, we can just buy the shares in the hands of the shareholders. Although it's very little, it's still money." Ding's mom said with a smile, "It's not easy to get 30% of the shares from your dad. This money is enough for us to settle down." Ning Shu nodded. At least they wouldn't be as down and out as they were in the movie. Ning Shu and Ding's mom stayed in the rented house for the time being. The house was very big and had everything they needed. However, there was a smell of medicine. They smelled it as soon as they entered the house. "You've been fiddling with these every day?" Ding's mom looked at the bottles and jars. "Yes. Look at you. You look a lot better recently." After Ding Yan and Ding's mom got divorced, Ding Yan immediately told Ding Ningdi, who was in the hospital. He told Ding Ningdi that he was going to marry her mother. Ding Ningdi opened her watery eyes wide. She was stunned at first, and then burst into tears of joy. "My mom finally got this day. Thank you, Dad." Ding Ningdi was crying and laughing at the same time. She was so happy that she couldn't control herself. Seeing Ding Ningdi like this, Ding Yan felt that his 30% shares were worth it. Didn't Ding Yan count on Ding Ningdi to help the Ding family? Ding Yan sighed and said, "It's just that the 30% shares were taken away by them. I was going to give them to you as a dowry." Ding Ningdi pouted and said, "They are so mean." Dad, they are just taking advantage of you. I know. If I don't give them the shares, they won't divorce me. I can't let you marry Bai Hanmo as an illegitimate daughter. I know you've been wronged all these years. Live a good life with Bai Hanmo in the future. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Ding Ningdi was so moved that she burst into tears. Ding Ningdi felt that this was all there was to a happy life. Her mom finally married her dad, and she also met the man of her life. Ding Ningdi was in a good mood and felt much better. She didn't want to stay in the hospital anymore. The cast was removed and her leg was healed. Although there was still some pain, it would be over soon. She could use the wheelchair to rest first. Although her leg was injured, her mom and dad got married in exchange. Ding Ningdi touched her leg and felt a little regretful. She was either lying in bed or sitting in a wheelchair. Ding Ningdi's heart was covered with a shadow. Ding Ningdi tried to stand up, but she felt tired after a few steps. When she walked, she felt a little pain. The doctor said that the wound hadn't healed and she needed more rest. Ding Ningdi felt even more upset. She hated Ding's mom for pushing her down. She also regretted getting close to Ding's mom. Ding Ningdi was angry. When she called Bai Hanmo, she secretly told him that her leg might be left with a hidden disease. She asked Bai Hanmo coquettishly if he wouldn't want her. When Bai Hanmo heard that Ding Ningdi's leg might be left with a sequela, he immediately became unhappy. He went to the Ding family to make trouble. However, when he arrived at the Ding family, he was told that she had already left. Now, even Ding Yen didn't know where Ding's mom went. Bai Hanmo sat on the sofa, exuding a cold aura. No one could get close to him. Ding Yen felt that he was in trouble. Everything he did was wrong. Mobile users, please visit this wonderful novel at any time. This chapter is called Rich and Powerful Sisters 18. If you think this chapter is good, please don't forget to recommend it to your friends in the QQ group and Weibo. Chapter 1440. For mobile users, please visit this wonderful novel at any time. Bai Hanmo said that he wanted to give Ding Ningdi an identity, and then he divorced her. After the divorce, Bai Hanmo wanted to find his ex-wife again. How would he know where his ex-wife had gone? She didn't come before, but now she came. Ding Yen was really speechless. Did these people do everything based on their mood? Why did he feel that they were even more difficult to please than the emperor? Bai Hanmo held his breath and his face darkened. It was Ding Ningdi who interrupted Bai Hanmo and made him feel a little better. We can't just let this matter go. No one hurt my people, so they can run away freely. Bai Hanmo said to Ding Ningdi. Ding Ningdi held Bai Hanmo's arm and leaned her head against his chest. You don't have to do this. I'm already very lucky to have met you. You're so soft-hearted. I won't forget what those two people did to you. Bai Hanmo looked at the wheelchair. Because of them, you're sitting in a wheelchair. Ding Ningdi saw Bai Hanmo looking at her legs and immediately felt her legs burning. Do you dislike me? Ding Ningdi looked at Bai Hanmo pitifully, her eyes watery. She was like a puppy that was about to be abandoned. It made his heart tighten and ache. Bai Hanmo held Ding Ningdi in his arms. I only want you in my life. Ding Ningdi's eyes flashed with tears, but there was a smile on her face. She cried and laughed, like a beautiful flower, very moving. Bai Hanmo's heart skipped a beat and he carried Ding Ningdi in his arms. Ding Ningdi blushed. She hugged Bai Hanmo's neck and buried her face in Bai Hanmo's chest. There are so many people here. What are you afraid of? Bai Hanmo whispered into Ding Ningdi's ear with a smile. It's not something you're familiar with. What's there to be afraid of? Bai Hanmo smiled evilly and carried his daughter upstairs in front of his father-in-law. As for the indescribable things that happened after that, one could imagine. Ding Yen thought he didn't feel too good. It seemed that Bai Hanmo would not let his ex-wife off the hook. Ding Yan asked someone to find Ning Shu and his wife. After that, Bai Hanmo proposed to Ding Ningdi in a grand ceremony. What's more, it was a live broadcast. It was like a thunderclap. Ning Shu boiled the burn ointment and watched the ceremony on TV. They were really showing off their love for each other. Ning Shu closed the lid of the ointment and turned on the computer. Not only was it live on TV, but it was also in full swing on the internet. Some people had already started to dig into Ding Ningdi's identity. The power of netizens was quite strong. Even the gossip about Ji Lu was dug up. Then, Ding Ningdi's identity was revealed. She was the daughter of a female celebrity, Ji Lu, and the daughter of a mistress. After that, Ding Ningdi's family was dug up, including Ning Shu's identity. Bai Hanmo was originally Ding Ningdi's fiancé, but he was snatched away by Ding Ningdi. Ding Ningdi always looked like a little white flower, which disgusted women. She was the daughter of a mistress, and she stole her sister's husband. She was like a little white flower fighter. The ladies of rich families didn't like Ding Ningdi. The ladies didn't like their husbands having an illegitimate child, and the ladies didn't like having a sister who stole their men. For a moment, Ding Ningdi's reputation was unbearable. Of course, there were many women who were jealous of Ding Ningdi. Bai Hanmo was a top-notch man. He was powerful, rich, and handsome. Many women wanted to squeeze into Bai Hanmo's arms. Ning Shu clicked on the mouse. This was the effect she wanted. So what if Ding's mom and Ding Yan divorced? The daughter of a mistress, stealing her sister's fiancé, these were all things that had solid evidence. So, they were lovey-dovey at home. They were even showing off their love, live on TV and the internet. They didn't care whether others could stand it or not. Even if they were in love, they didn't need the whole world to know. Well, those who didn't know would know what kind of person Ding Ningdi was. So what? TSK, 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 Ning Shu smelled the medicine in the ointment and started to put in the herbs. This was specially made for Lian Min. Her scar was very serious, so the medicine had to be stronger. After that, Ning Shu sent the ointment to Lian Min. Ning Shu decided to pull a few people into this business. When Ning Shu arrived at the Lian residence, Lian Min's attitude towards Ning Shu was much gentler. Ning Shu gave the ointment to Lian Min. Lian Min took it and asked, "Why are you looking for me? I don't believe that you're here just to deliver the medicine." Ning Shu laughed. "I'm here to deliver the medicine. Forget it. My mom used the ointment recipe well. Do you still have it? My mom's complexion is much better recently. Many people are asking her about it. Looks like you won't have to worry about sales in the future," Lian Min said. Ning Shu smiled. "Of course I do. But the ingredients are hard to come by. It's not easy to make." Lian Min, yes. Lian Min looked at Ning Shu. "Do you want to invest? Let's do this business together." Lian Min looked at Ning Shu. "Just say that you're not here to deliver the medicine." "Sure, how much do you need?" Lian Min didn't care. Money was just a string of numbers to the rich. "Okay, I'll give you 10% of the shares," Ning Shu said with a smile. At this moment, Lian Min's mother came back. Lian Min introduced Ning Shu to her mother. "The ointment recipe you took was made by him. Now he's recruiting people to do business. Do you want to invest?" Ning Shu was speechless. This was too direct. Couldn't she be more tactful? Lian Min's mother immediately grabbed Ning Shu's hand. "I've heard about what happened between you and your mother. The Bai family is too much of a bully." Ning Shu was speechless. Why was she talking about this? They're really in love. "I'll fulfill their wish," Ning Shu said. Lian Min's mother wanted to say something, but Lian Min tugged at her mother. "They're asking if you want to invest." "Yes, give me more beauty products." Recently, my night sweats have improved a lot. A lot of people are asking me about it. Lian Min wrote a check to Ning Shu. Ning Shu silently counted the zeros on the check. There were quite a few of them. She was so generous. Ning Shu smiled and accepted Lian Min's check. With this money, he could open a small pharmacy and customize this beauty ointment. He could take the high-end route. Rare things were precious. Ning Shu left the Lian family's house and received a call from Ding Yan. He said that Ding Yan was getting married to Ji Lu and asked Ning Shu to attend the wedding. Ning Shu said directly that he wouldn't attend the wedding as long as he was happy. Ning Shu was speechless. You're getting married to your lover, and now you're asking your ex-wife and daughter to attend the wedding. What was Ding Yan thinking? Ning Shu hung up the phone and went home to tell Ding's mom about it. When Ding's mom heard that Ding Yan was getting married to Ji Lu, she didn't have much of a reaction. Yeah, I think it's because of Ding Ningdi. Ding Ningdi was scolded so badly a while ago. He's marrying Ji Lu to shut them up. Ding's mom shook her head. Your father is such a coward. Look at him. What's the point of living like this? Wonderful novel to read at any time. Mobile users please visit. This chapter is chapter Rich and Powerful Sisters 19. If you think this chapter is good, please don't forget to recommend it to your friends in the QQ group and Weibo. Chapter 1441. For mobile users, please visit this wonderful novel at any time. It was quite boring. For the sake of some benefits, he had no principles at all. Once he took a step back, he could only continue to do so. It was reasonable for Ding Yan to act this way. It was like gambling. He had already paid so much and had already gambled so much. He had to win it all back. Actually, it was fine for Ding Yan to be a little more aggressive. After all, Ding Ningdi was his daughter. Given how much Bai Hanmo cared about Ding Ningdi, he would fall in love with her after sleeping with her. There were definitely benefits. Now, he did not act like an elder at all. Tisk, tisk, we'll talk about it after they get married, Ding's mom said. Ning Shu looked at Ding's mom. Mom, what's your plan? Just wait and see. Ding's mom smiled at Ning Shu. Ding Yan and Ji Lu's wedding was very grand. Moreover, Bai Hanmo also invited a lot of people to give face to Ding Yan. He supported Ji Lu. He was already in his 40s, but he made it seem like his first wedding. How could he not feel embarrassed? After Ding Yan and Ji Lu got married, Ding's mom started to take action. As a major shareholder of the company, Ding's mom wanted to call for a shareholders' meeting. Ding's mom bought a lot of shares from Ding Yan and planned to work with others to remove Ding Yan from the position of chairman. She wanted to elect another major shareholder as the chairman. Ding's mom knew that she could not elect another major shareholder as the chairman. Ning Shu followed Ding's mom to the company to attend the board meeting. Mom, are you really going to do this? Ning Shu sat behind Ding's mom and asked her. Ding's mom looked calm. Of course. Ding Yan walked into the meeting room and looked at Ding's mom with a frown. What are you doing? I didn't do anything. After all, I'm a major shareholder. I just want to hold a meeting, Ding's mom said. Ding Yan glanced at her and sat on the chairman's seat. When more than 10 shareholders arrived, the shareholders' meeting began. What followed was Ding Yan's criticism of Ding Yan. They pointed out his mistakes in managing the company, his mistakes in management, and his wrong decisions and policies. How could a person not make mistakes? But Ding Yan's mistake was magnified. Ding Yan's face darkened as he scanned the crowd. This was the Ding family's company, and these people actually wanted to take over it. It was not that simple. Ding Yan sent a text message to Ding Ningdi under the table, asking her to bring Bai Hanmo to the company. The company's current situation was not good. Ding Ningdi received a call from Ding Ningdi and hurried to find Bai Hanmo. Even if it was for her newly married mother, Ding Ningdi would not ignore it. Ding's mom stood up. So, I suggest that Director Chen become the chairman. I support Director Chen. Ding Yan's face darkened. A night together as husband and wife means endless devotion for the rest of your life. Do you really have to be so ruthless? Ning Shu did not know how Ding's mom felt when she heard this, but he felt that it was so ironic. When Ding Yan did things, he did not think that a night together as husband and wife means endless devotion for the rest of his life. Women should be soft-hearted when it came to relationships. Once they did something, they would be vicious, heartless, and vicious. I support Director Chen. I support you too. I support you. Director Chen had a smile on his face. He had roped in a lot of directors for this day. Ding Yan looked at the situation and his face darkened. If he was really removed from the chairman position, he would be a mere figurehead. This was the Ding family's company. These heartless bastards wanted to use this method to take away what belonged to the Ding family. Ding Yan did not hate the others. After all, these people had always been ambitious, especially Director Chen. However, Ding Yan hated Ding's mom, who had stabbed him in the back. Ding Yan felt that no matter what he had done, as a wife, he should forgive her. However, whatever she had done, it was treacherous. To put it bluntly, he was a male chauvinist. Ding's mom ignored Ding Yan's hateful gaze. The board meeting had been held in a hurry. Ding Yan did not have time to make any arrangements. Ding Yan's support on the board of directors was very low. Only a few of Ding Yan's trusted aides supported him. Ding Yan was anxious. Why had Ding Ningdi not brought Bai Hanmo over yet? If they were any later, it would really be too late. Thank you for your support. Director Chen stood up in high spirits. He was about to give a victory speech. The door of the meeting room suddenly opened. Bai Hanmo, dressed in a suit, walked in. Ding Ningdi followed behind him. Bai Hanmo walked in step by step. His leather shoes made a sound as they rubbed against the floor. His aura was very strong. The moment Bai Hanmo walked in, everyone was stunned. Ding Yan let out a long sigh. At least he was here. He was really afraid that he would lose his chairman position. What is going on here? It's so lively. Bai Hanmo's sharp gaze swept across the people present. Finally, it stopped on Ning Shu and Ding Ningdi. This is our company's business. I don't think it has anything to do with your company. Director Chen saw Bai Hanmo appear out of nowhere. His expression was ugly. Everyone in the business world knew about the Bai family. From now on, this company belongs to the Bai family. Bai Hanmo said domineeringly, the Bai family bought this company. It's not up to you to decide who will be the chairman of this company. Ding Ningdi stared at Bai Hanmo with watery eyes. Her eyes were full of admiration and trust. However, Ning Shu covered his mouth and almost laughed out loud. Especially when he saw Ding Yan's expression of eating shit, it was unprecedentedly funny. Ding Yan had pinned his hopes on Bai Hanmo, giving Bai Hanmo a chance to show off. Then, the Ding family's company directly became the Bai family's and Bai Hanmo's. What a joke. Even Ding's mom couldn't help but laugh. Everyone present was stunned. In a matter of seconds, the company became someone else's. And he became their son-in-law. The directors present looked at Ding Yan with subtle expressions. Well, actually. Ding Yan chose his words carefully and wanted to refuse Bai Hanmo's kindness. Ding Yan felt like he had shot himself in the foot. He asked Bai Hanmo to come, but Bai Hanmo bought the company directly. He was really the overbearing president of Wangpu of Tianliang. Dad, Hanmo will definitely help us. Ding Ningdi didn't know the bitterness in Ding Yan's heart and said. Ding Yan said, actually, you don't have to buy the company. You're welcome. you are Ning Dai's father. I will definitely help you. Ning Shu looked at the three of them with a smile. Ding Yen couldn't say anything, Bai Hanmo felt good about himself, and Ding Ningdi looked very shy. Although there was a problem in the process, the result was the same. The company was no longer the Ding family's. Ding Yen and Ding's mom were the same. They were just shareholders with a lot of shares. Even if he became the chairman, the company was no longer his. Someone was in charge of it. The Ding family's company was no longer the Ding family. Only Ding Ningdi was foolishly happy. She really thought that the prince would save her from the fire. The world of the little white flower was men. As long as there was a man, everything would be fine. Mobile users, please visit this wonderful novel at any time. The latest chapter of the canon Fodder female supporting characters counterattack. This chapter is chapter Rich and Powerful Sisters 20. If you think this chapter is good, please don't forget to recommend it to your QQ group and Weibo friends. Chapter 1442. No matter how well the news was hidden, there were still rumors that the company was going to be sold. Only when the company could no longer operate would it be sold. Anyway, the company was in a state of panic. Many small shareholders wanted to sell their shares. If the company was really bought out, it would be impossible for them to sell their shares. If the company was really sold, their shares might evaporate and become worthless. When Ding's mom proposed to buy the shares, the small shareholders pretended to be pretentious and bought it. People were blind followers. When one person sold, the others became anxious and sold as well. Suddenly, Ding's mom had a lot of shares in her hands. Ning Shu felt more and more that Ding Yen was digging his own grave. Moreover, he felt wronged. The Ding family did not discuss it at all, which led to the current situation. When I take over the company, I will put this product under the Ding family company. Okay. Ning Shu nodded. Are you planning to take over the company? I have a lot of shares in my hands. Plus, the company is dispirited now. I will take the opportunity to take over the company. Even if I can't take it, I can destroy it. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu gave her a thumbs up. Mom, you are so cool. After that, Ning Shu checked his accounts. He already had a lot of money in his hands. Ning Shu gave Ding's mom some money and asked her to continue buying shares. Soon, Ding's mom would become the biggest shareholder of the company. Ding's mom was full of energy now. Previously, she wanted to take revenge on Ding Yen. But now, she seemed to have found her life goal. It was not only for revenge, but also for fighting. Ning Shu kept an eye on the situation of the Ding family company. He had to get the management rights before the Bai family bought the company. Ding's mom had the final say on whether to buy the company or not. Ning Shu and Ding's mom lived a fulfilling and happy life, but the situation of the Ding family was not so good. After Ding Yen and Ji Lu got married, Ji Lu acted like a rich lady. If she wasn't shopping, she would go shopping, or she would curry favor with other ladies. Ding Yen realized that he had been busy for half a day. He had gotten a divorce, gotten married, lost 30% of his shares, and found that he could no longer keep his position as the chairman. After that, the Ding family's company would be owned by the Bai family. What was this? Therefore, when Ding Yen looked at the sweet Ding Ningdi, who was always exuding a sense of spring, he found it particularly unpleasant to look at. What did you tell Bai Hanmo? How could you let Bai Hanmo buy our company? Ding Yen asked Ding Ningdi. Ding Ningdi smiled gently at her father. Dad, Hanmo is helping us. Even if he buys our company, he will give us a sum of money. Hanmo said that you will still be in charge of the company. This belongs to the Ding family. Now it will belong to the Bai family. Ding Yen did not say it directly. Bai Hanmo took advantage of the situation. Dad, why can't you think it through? This company will only be in the name of the Bai family, but it will still be run by the Ding family. Dad, you will also have the Bai family as your backer. No one will bully the Ding family anymore. What do you know? Ding Yen was so angry that he cursed. Is the ownership the same as the right to use it? What a retard. Ding Ningdi seemed to be frightened by her father's yell. Her eyes were watery, and she looked at Ding Yen pitifully. When Ding Yen saw Ding Ningdi like this, the veins on his forehead were about to explode. He felt that he could not communicate with her. What I mean is that the company that originally belonged to the Ding family has now become the Bai family's. We have no right to control it. We don't have the right to decide what happens to the company. Ding Yen simply said, tell Bai Hanmo that he doesn't need to buy the company. Ding Ningdi felt very wronged and nodded. I will tell Bai Hanmo. Call Bai Hanmo now. Ding Yen wanted to watch Ding Ningdi make the call. Ding Yen felt very anxious now. He had a very bad feeling. Whether it was the company, his ex-wife, or Bai Hanmo, Ding Yen felt that he was surrounded by enemies. He was really going to fail. Ding Ningdi did not want to make the call. Although Ding Ningdi did not know much about business, she had intuition about people's emotions. She felt that if she really called Bai Hanmo would not be happy. She was the one who had asked Bai Hanmo for help. Now, she said that she did not need it. It seemed that she had used Bai Hanmo and then kicked Bai Hanmo away. It would definitely affect Bai Hanmo's impression of her. Ding Ningdi was very hesitant. Ding Yen urged, do you want to call? Dad. Hurry up. Ding Yen looked more and more anxious. Ding Ningdi bit her lip and took out her phone to call Bai Hanmo. Ding Ningdi was thinking about how to tell Bai Hanmo. Staring at Ding Yan's eyes, Ding Ningdi felt a little irritated. She was afraid that if her father got angry, it would affect her mother's position in the Ding family. She was also afraid that if Bai Hanmo got angry, it would affect her relationship with Bai Hanmo. Ding Yan's impatience made Ding Ningdi anxious. She had been scolded as a mistress before, and now something like this had happened. Not only did Ding Yen feel that his efforts were fruitless, but Ding Ningdi also felt insecure. Before the call went through, Ding Ningdi hung up. She did not want to call Bai Hanmo. Ding Ningdi felt that it was not right to do so. Ding Ningdi trusted her intuition. What's wrong? Ding Yen looked at Ding Ningdi. Call. Tell Bai Hanmo clearly. Ding Ningdi took a deep breath and said sadly, Dad, I don't know anything about business. Why should I call Bai Hanmo? If there's anything, you should tell Bai Hanmo clearly. Ding Ningdi immediately weighed the pros and cons. Anyone could make this call, but it couldn't be her. When Ding Yen heard his daughter's words, his entire person became a Spartan. If Bai Hanmo listened to him, why did he have to waste so much effort to divorce and get married? He just hoped that someone could say a word in front of Bai Hanmo. Now this girl was going to be a hands-off boss. He had lost his shares and the company. Moreover, his son-in-law was going to backstab him. Ding Yen did not want his painstaking efforts to become the Bai family's. Ding Yen wanted to hide behind the Bai family and take advantage of it. However, he did not want the company to become the Bai family's. The reason why he made such a sacrifice was that he wanted the company to be stronger and the Ding family to become a top wealthy family. He did not want to become the Bai family's subordinate. Ding Ningdi's performance made Ding Yen very disappointed. At the same time, he was also very worried. At this moment, Ji Lu, who had just returned from shopping, came in with shopping bags. Ding Yan's heart exploded with anger as he roared, you only know how to buy all day long. Do you think money grows on trees? From tomorrow on, your card is frozen. Stay at home if you have nothing to do. On the one hand, Ding Yen was venting his anger. On the other hand, he was warning Ding Ningdi. Chapter 1443. Ji Lu, who had come back happily, was yelled at by Ding Yen. Even her card was frozen. She was completely dumbfounded. She put down the bag and asked Ding Yen carefully, "What's wrong with you?" "What's wrong? The company is going to become someone else's home. All you do is eat, sleep, and then buy things. Can't you do something else? Useless thing." Ding Yen thought of his ex-wife, who had opposed him during the board meeting. Although she hated him, she was still a young lady from a rich family. Her boldness was different from that of a small star. Ji Lu was even more dumbfounded. If it was easy to do other things, why would she be a mistress? Why would she work so hard to give birth to a child? She was doing things for an easy life. Ji Lu looked at her daughter. Ding Ningdi shook her head at Ji Lu and pulled her upstairs. "Mom, don't always buy so many things. Look, the house is almost full." Ding Ningdi couldn't help but say to Ji Lu. Ever since Ji Lu married Ding Yen, she had been on cloud 9. "What else can I do when I have money? Do I just look at the money?" Ji Lu took out the clothes from the bag and compared them to her body. "Mom, please restrain yourself. Dad is already not happy. You won't last long like this. No man likes a woman who is full of the stench of money and wants to buy all kinds of branded things." Ding Ningdi said helplessly. Although Ji Lu was more than 20 years older than her daughter, Ji Lu was not as smart as her daughter. Ji Lu was in the entertainment industry. She was more superficial and greedy for fame and fortune. She couldn't hold it in. She looked like a different kind of person from her daughter. "I finally married your father. I have to get back my money." Ji Lu didn't feel safe in her current life, even though she had become Mrs. Ding. But Ji Lu still felt like she was in a dream. She was used to being a mistress who couldn't be seen in public. Suddenly, she was pushed to the front of everyone. She felt guilty. That was why she spent so much money. She was afraid that she would wake up one day. There's a big difference between asking for it and a man giving it to you. If a man really wants to give it to you, he will definitely bring the world to you, Ding Ningdi said. Ji Lu shrugged. "Do you think your father is the kind of person who would present the world to me? If that was really the case, why wouldn't Ji Lu want to be a woman who lived in peace and tranquility? Cold and noble." Fortunately, her daughter was such a woman. "Anyway, stop it. Dad is not in a good mood recently." Ding Ningdi felt a headache coming on. Why was her relationship with Bai Hanmo so fraught with difficulties? Ding Ningdi was afraid that she would not be able to marry Bai Hanmo. Ding Ningdi had a worried look on her face. Now she was stuck in the middle and had to choose a side. Ding Ningdi looked at her mother and said, "If you give in to Dad, your card won't freeze. In the future, don't bring the things you buy home. Put them in the old house. You have to at least pretend, okay?" Ding Ningdi said. Ji Lu looked at her daughter in a daze. She had told her not to buy things blindly before. Why did she agree now? But Ji Lu still nodded obediently. Her daughter was very talented when it came to men. But Ji Lu still felt that something was wrong. "What do you want to do?" Ding Ningdi shook her head. "Nothing." Ding Ningdi did not want to be a sandwich anymore. She had to give up one side. After that, Ding Ningdi moved out of the Ding family home and stayed in a hotel. Ding Yen, damn, what was going on? Ding Ningdi helplessly explained to Bai Hanmo what was going on. Anyway, she was innocent. She had already told her father in the whole country, but her father did not know what was good for him. Ding Ningdi did not understand why her father would say that. He was obviously helping the Ding family. In any case, Ding Ningdi had thoroughly betrayed Ding Yen, and at the same time made her attitude clear. Girls were extroverted and stood on men's side. Bai Hanmo kissed Ding Ningdi's forehead. Since your father doesn't know our good intentions, we won't interfere. We gave your father a chance, but he didn't take it, Bai Hanmo said calmly. Ding Ningdi solved the problem. Bai Hanmo did not seem to want to buy the company again, and she did what Ding Yen asked her to do. The process was not important, but the result was. Ding Ningdi tried to find out when Bai Hanmo would marry her. Only by getting married would Ding Ningdi's hanging heart feel at ease. Ning Shu had been paying attention to the Ding family's company. He did not know why, but Bai Hanmo did not do anything when he said that he wanted to buy the company. Could it be that he was joking? No matter whether Bai Hanmo was joking or not, he gave Ding's mom a chance to elect her as the chairman at the shareholders' meeting. Ding's mom had the most shares, because the company had sold too many shares recently. Ding's mom spent a lot of money to buy the shares. If it were not for Ning Shu's support, she would not have been able to survive. Ding's mom took the position of the chairman in front of Ding Yan's dark face. The main reason was that the people in the company were not united. In fact, whoever became the chairman would have a hot potato in their hands. That was why Ding's mom took the position so easily. Ding Yan's face turned ugly. He gritted his teeth and asked, "What on earth do you want to do?" "I just want to be the chairman," Ding's mom said. Ding Yen was speechless. Damn it, the company was gone in the end. You just want to get back at me, don't you? Ding Yen looked at Ding's mom. But you shouldn't joke about the company. How can a woman like you be the chairman? Don't mess around. Ding Yen said to Ning Shu, "Persuade your mother. Business is not a game." Ning Shu was speechless. Why do I have to persuade her for everything? She was the one who persuaded her to get a divorce. Why should I persuade her now? Ning Shu said, "Dad, how can I persuade Mom?" Mom bought the shares with real money, and she got the position of the chairman with her own efforts. Dad, what do you want me to persuade? Should Mom give you the position of the chairman, give you the shares, or give you everything? He was a chauvinist and could not be saved. He looked down on and belittled the person who had lived with him for more than 20 years. Ding Yen did not say anything. Obviously, Ning Shu had hit the nail on the head. In fact, even if they were divorced, Ding Yen still regarded Ding's mom as his own. Please hand over the work to me as soon as possible. After all, I am the chairman now. Ding's mom slightly raised her chin. She was wearing an office lady suit, which made her look very capable and charming. Nonsense. This is the company of the Ding family. How can a woman manage it? You want to break up the company, right? Chapter 1444. It was easy to understand what Ding Yen was thinking. He just felt that even if they were divorced, he still felt that Mrs. Ding should do everything for him wholeheartedly. Where did his confidence come from? Ding Yen had no choice but to give the position of chairman to Ding's mom. He made up his mind, waiting to see Ding's mom in a difficult situation, not knowing what to do with the company and being bullied by the shareholders. He didn't believe that Ding's mom, a woman, could handle everything. He didn't believe that she could manage the company well. He was sure that she would beg him for help when she was bullied. That was why Ding Yen gave the company to Ding's mom. Ding's mom smiled, picked up the nameplate with the name of Chairman Ding Yen on it from the table and threw it into the trash can in front of Ding Yen. Ding Yen was speechless. Ding Yan's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. He stared at Ding's mom and said, "You are so annoying. You have never liked me." "It doesn't matter," Ding's mom said casually. Ding Yen was even more speechless. He turned around and walked away. Ding's mom just smiled. Ning Shu said with a smile, "Congratulations, Mom." Ning Shu liked Ding's mom like this. He didn't like her to be a resentful woman who would embarrass herself because of a man. Ding's mom looked better in this way. Her face was smeared with the pearl cream made by Ning Shu. Her skin was white and flawless, and it shone like a pearl. Ning Shu said, "Mom, release the news that Guinness Company of M Country is going to buy the company. They are secretly meeting to discuss the acquisition." "What do you want to do?" Ding's mom asked. Ning Shu said with a smile, "Just put on a show." They had to get Bai Hanmo involved in this scene. Soon, the news spread. Everyone in the company knew that the company had been sold. They were even more anxious. If the company was really acquired by M Country's Guinness Company, then it would become a foreign company. At that time, he would definitely be washed with blood. There would definitely be large-scale layoffs. Many employees began to prepare for their own escape routes. Many of them began to jump ship. However, most of the people who changed jobs were the bottom-level employees. On the other hand, the middle and high-level employees were unable to resign for the time being. Anyway, the atmosphere in the company was very impetuous. The more it was like this, the more certain it was that the company would be acquired. When Ding Yan heard the news, he almost fainted. He had messed up the company, and now he was going to sell the company. As the saying goes, women have long hair but short insight. She had turned a good company into such a mess. Ding Yan found the company and raised his hand to slap Ding's mom. The bodyguard next to Ding's mom grabbed Ding Yan's wrist. "Let go, let go." Ding Yan wanted to withdraw his hand, but it was held tightly by the bodyguard. Ding's mom said lightly, "Let go." Only then did the bodyguard let go of Ding Yan's hand. "What do you want to do?" Ding Yan roared angrily. "Now I'm the chairman of the company. I have the final say in the company," Ding's mom said with her chin slightly raised. Ding Yan wanted to slap her again, but when he saw the two tall bodyguards, he did not dare to do it. Ding Yan was anxious. If the company was really sold, the Ding family would have nothing. What was going on this year? The company could not escape the fate of being sold. First, it was the Bai family. Now, it was M Country's Guinness Company. No matter what, he could not sell the Ding family's company. Ding Yan rubbed his eyebrows. In the end, he still had to turn to Bai Hanmo. Selling the company to the Bai family was better than selling it to M Country's Guinness Company. Even if I'm not the chairman of the company, I'm still a major shareholder of the company. I don't agree to sell the company. Ding Yan gritted his teeth and said, "Even if you want to take revenge on me, don't make fun of the company. There are so many employees in the company. Those employees need to support their families. The company needs to support so many employees. There should be a limit to how willful you can be." Ding's mom said lightly, "The company just has a new boss. Everything will be the same. Besides, even if this company doesn't exist, there are other companies. As long as there are talents, they are needed everywhere. Don't pretend to be a man with such a righteous excuse." Ding's mom sneered. How could a person who didn't even care about his own family consider others? It was disgusting to use the employees as an excuse. You. Ding Yan was so angry that he pointed at Ding's mom. In the end, he snorted and left. Ding's mom looked at Ding Yan's back and clicked her tongue. Ding Yan was really a coward. Ding Yan immediately tried to contact Ding Ningdi, but he couldn't get through at all. Anyway, he just couldn't get through. Ding Yan was so angry that the blue veins on his forehead were about to explode. He had a splitting headache. He went upstairs directly and saw Ji Lu looking at herself in the mirror. The tags on her clothes had not been taken off. Obviously, they were new clothes. Would this woman die if she didn't buy clothes for a day? Ding Yan grabbed Ji Lu's arm and said, "Call your daughter. Hurry up." "What's wrong?" Ji Lu asked, "Why should I call Ningdi?" "Just call when I tell you to," Ding Yan said impatiently. Ji Lu didn't dare to resist Ding Yan. She obediently took out her phone and called Ding Ningdi. Ding Yan couldn't get through to Ding Ning's phone, but Ji Lu could. Ding Yan was speechless. What the fuck? He had been blacklisted. For the first time, Ding Yan felt that his well-behaved and charming daughter had a rebellious streak. He hadn't noticed it before. He just thought that she was a weak girl who needed protection. When facing her, he couldn't help but soften his voice, afraid that he would scare her. But now, Ding Ningdi made Ding Yan vigilant. Ding Yan even imagined that his son-in-law and daughter had conspired to take over the Ding family. What should I say? Ji Lu whispered to Ding Yan. Ding Yan snatched the phone from her hand and said directly, I'm your father. Now your aunt is going to sell the company and get a lot of money. Our family is going bankrupt. Your mother and I are going to sleep on the streets. This matter must be settled properly. Otherwise, I will never agree to let you marry Bai Hanmo. Ding Yan ordered directly and hung up the phone. He threw the phone to Ji Lu and took the brand on Ji Lu's clothes. Can you do anything other than shopping? You won't have any money to buy things in the future. The company is going bankrupt. If you don't ask your daughter to help, you will become a homeless dog. Speaking of a stray dog, Ding Yan felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He was about to become a stray dog. Although Ji Lu didn't know what had happened, she saw Ding Yan's serious face and knew that something big had happened. In any case, Ji Lu had been with Ding Yan for so many years, and he was also her financial backer. She knew Ding Yan's emotions very well. Chapter 1445. Something big must have happened for Ding Yan to be so flustered. Would she really have no money to buy things in the future? Then what was the use of her being Mrs. Ding? Tell me what happened so that I can talk to Ning Dai. Ji Lu whispered. Ding Yan glanced at her. Only Ding Ningdi could help the company now. Now the Ding family had taken out so much money to buy his company. Ding Yan's heart felt like it was about to explode. Now, he was going to buy his family's company. Ji Lu heard that the matter was so serious that it would affect her future life. Otherwise, she would really have a hard life in the future. Ding Yan thought for a while and decided to buy the company himself to compete with M Country's Guinness Company. Ding Yan took out all of his belongings. He had quite a lot of money. The company had earned a lot of money over the years. This money was enough. Ding Yan went downstairs. The person who had been sent to spy on Ding's mom came back. He said to Ding Yan, Madam met with a group of foreigners at the hotel. Foreigners. They must be from Guinness Company. They must be discussing the acquisition of the company. This bitch was really going to sell the company. Where did those foreigners go after that? Ding Yan asked. Where did they go after that? Ding Yan asked. They went to the company. I think they went there to inspect the company. Ding Yan slammed his fist on the table when he heard that. Damn it. He had taken out his own money to buy his own company. This feeling was really good. Ding Yan was anxious. He could not let Guinness Company take the lead. Ding Yan called Ding's mom and asked her how much Guinness Company was offering. 6 billion, Ding's mom said. How much? Ding Yan was really shocked. On the one hand, it was because his company was so valuable. 6 billion. He was so proud of it. But 6 billion? He did not have enough money. He only had half of the money. Could it be that he had to ask for the other half from Bai Hanmo? But could Bai Hanmo afford so much money? Ding Yan was so worried that his hair turned white. Dad called. Ning Shu sat on the sofa and asked Ding's mom. Ding's mom nodded. How much is the company? Ning Shu took a sip of water and didn't say anything. Ding Yan would definitely not be able to gather 6 billion yuan. If he couldn't, he would definitely turn to Bai Hanmo. It was hard to say whether Bai Hanmo could come up with the money. If he had to come up with the money, for Bai Hanmo to take out so much money at once, there must be a void behind him. How's your ointment business going? Ding's mom asked. Ning Shu smiled and said, you have no idea how good your daughter's business is right now. She's waiting in line for my products. My daughter has grown up, Ding's mom teased. Is the person you found reliable? Ding's mom asked. I just need to put on a show, Ning Shu said. They just needed to wait until the contract was signed. As for the foreigners, it didn't matter. Ning Shu stood up. I'm going back to make the ointment. The ointment was her way of survival. The profits of the ointment were huge, especially since the process was complicated and there weren't many products. They were all natural. Many people were still waiting in line for their orders. Ning Shu went back to make the ointment and waited for the situation to develop. After that, Ding's mom released the news that Guinness Company was very satisfied and was about to sign the contract. Ding Yen was so anxious that he had blisters on his mouth. He urged Ji Lu and asked Ding Ningdi to come up with a solution. Ding Ningdi had been hesitating whether to ask for money or not. If she asked for money, Bai Hanmo's image of her would change. Even if he wanted to give her money, she wouldn't be the one asking for it. Ding Ningdi was very conflicted. Between a man and a woman, it was either the east wind or the west wind. If she asked for money, she would be at a disadvantage. She couldn't let money put her feelings at a disadvantage. She had to tie Bai Hanmo down with her feelings. As long as Bai Hanmo loved her, she could get anything. So Ding Yen was very anxious, but Ding Ningdi was determined not to ask for it. She would pretend that this didn't happen. But behind her back, she told her mother to ask Ji Lu to ask Bai Hanmo. It was better if her mother didn't ask for it. Anyway, she couldn't ruin her own image. Even if the Ding family asked for it, it had nothing to do with her. Ji Lu received her daughter's hint and went to the villa where Bai Hanmo and Ding Ningdi lived alone. As soon as Ji Lu saw Ding Ning die, she immediately burst into tears and started crying. Ji Lu was a celebrity. Although she didn't have any superb acting skills, she cried much more than the average person. Her crying was very sad. As soon as Bai Hanmo got off work and returned to the villa, he heard the sad crying in his woman's room. He hurried upstairs and saw Ding Ningdi comforting a woman. It was Ji Lu. What happened? Bai Hanmo pulled his tie and saw that Ji Lu was crying. Although she was crying, her makeup was not smudged at all. Even her mascara was not smudged. I'm fine. Ding Ningdi said with a melancholy expression. Ding Ningdi looked like a melancholy talented girl in ancient times. Every angle was just right. The light from the balcony slanted down and coated her body with a layer of golden light. Beautiful and dust-free. Bai Hanmo liked Ding Ningdi's appearance. There was no woman more beautiful than Ding Ningdi in the world. She had a warm and clean temperament and smelled very good. Ji Lu cried for a while. Seeing Bai Hanmo come back, she wiped her tears and was about to leave. Stay for dinner, Bai Hanmo urged her to stay. Ji Lu looked at Ding Ningdi. Ding Ningdi said reluctantly, then Mom will stay for dinner. Ding Ningdi looked very sad. Even when it was time to eat, she did not have much of an appetite. Bai Hanmo picked up food for her. She also smiled reluctantly. It seemed that she did not have much appetite. Tell me, what happened? Bai Hanmo put down his chopsticks and looked at Ji Lu. Tell me. Ji Lu was about to speak but was interrupted by Ding Ningdi. It's nothing. Mom just came to see me. Everything is written on your face. How can you say it's nothing? You're not a person who can hide your thoughts. You're like a clear spring. You can see everything at a glance. Bai Hanmo tapped Ding Ningdi's nose and said unhappily. Tell me, Bai Hanmo said to Ji Lu. Ji Lu hesitated for a moment and then told him about the company's situation. That mother and daughter pair broke up the company. Now they want to sell it for a large sum of money and then take the large sum of money to live free and unfettered. Previously, Ning Dai was tortured by them. Now they want to destroy the company. Ding Ningdi said helplessly, "Mom, this is all in the past. Don't talk about it anymore." Bai Hanmo raised his eyebrows. "I've heard about this. Did they bully you in the past?" Bai Hanmo asked Ding Ningdi. Ding Ningdi shook her head. "It's nothing. After all, my identity is not likable. It's normal for them to hate me." Chapter 1446. Ding Ningdi didn't deny that Ding's mom and Ning Shu had bullied her. She just said that her identity was annoying. Bai Hanmo held Ding Ningdi's hand and said, "A hero's birth doesn't matter. Besides, you are no longer an illegitimate daughter. No one will dare to attack you with this." Ji Lu saw that Bai Hanmo treated Ding Ningdi so well, and she was both gratified and jealous. Even if they were mother and daughter, when they saw a rich, tall, handsome, and talented man taking care of a woman so much, they would feel jealous. All the women in the world would be jealous of them. She had been a mistress for more than 20 years. Now that she had finally become Mrs. Ding, the company was going to collapse. It was destroyed by the former Mrs. Ding. Compared with her daughter, Ji Lu fell into a state of self-pity and self-blame. She couldn't help but feel jealous. "I will think of a way to deal with this," Bai Hanmo said lightly. Ji Lu forced a smile and said, "Thank you, son-in-law. Please keep it in mind." Ji Lu didn't want to see her daughter and son-in-law showing off their love. After all, they had different lives. Ji Lu sighed. A woman's life was to find a man who would treat her well and hold her in the palm of his hand. After Ji Lu left, Bai Hanmo and Ding Ningdi became much closer. Ding Ningdi said gloomily, "You don't have to think about me. It is also a burden for the Bai family's company to take out so much money. I really don't know why the mother and daughter did this. What's the point of doing this? It must be because of me. They want to take revenge on me. That's why they did this to the company. There are so many employees in the company. They have wives and children. They want to support their families. They are taking the livelihood of so many people as a joke." The more Ding Ningdi said, the more worried she looked. Her frown made people want to smooth it out. Every frown and smile was charming, and every frown was beautiful. Bai Hanmo thought to himself. He first contacted the Guinness Company in M country, but they didn't send anyone to buy the Ding family's company at all. Bai Hanmo could guess what the mother and daughter were up to even if he used his toes to think. He wanted to make a fortune. However, Bai Hanmo did not plan to tell Ding Yen about this. The Ding family's technology was his group's weakness. With the technology of the Ding family company, the Bai family group could be considered to have a foothold in all industries. Bai Hanmo planned to buy the Bai family's company directly. Firstly, it was for the sake of the group. Secondly, it was to answer to Ding Ningdi. So as not to make Ding Ningdi sad. This was a way to kill two birds with one stone. Moreover, the Ding clan could not blame him. He had already helped them. Therefore, Bai Hanmo brought his men directly to the Ding family's company. When he arrived at the chairman's office, he saw a group of 7 or 8 foreigners inside and sneered. "Enough acting. It's time to let them go." Bai Hanmo sneered and said. Ning Shu was not surprised to see Bai Hanmo. Obviously, the Ding family had found Bai Hanmo. Moreover, even heroes have a weakness for the charms of beautiful women. In order to make the beauty smile, King Yu of Zhou even played with the feudal lords. How could he express his love for Ding Ningdi if he didn't buy the company with a large sum of money? Ning Shu asked the foreigners to leave first. Then, he said with a smile, "Why are you here?" That was a very good play. Bai Hanmo glanced at Ding's mom and Ning Shu. His nose twitched. From the moment he came in, he smelled a faint smell of herbs. Ning Shu said, "Actually, I'm also offering you the conditions. I know you want to take over the Ding family's company. Oh, don't use your thoughts to guess what I'm thinking." Bai Hanmo put his finger on his lips and shushed him. His movement was devilishly charming. "Shush your sister. Can't pee enough." Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Ding's mom said, "If you want to buy the company, then the highest bidder will get it. Those people are fake people you found. If the Guinness Company of M country knows that someone is using their name, the consequences," Bai Hanmo said lightly, but his tone was full of threat. Ning Shu looked calm and was not worried at all. Although they are not from the Guinness Company, the Lien family and the Li family are interested in buying the company. The Lien family and the Li family. Bai Hanmo paused for a moment with a contemptuous look. Obviously, he looked down on the Lien family and the Li family. "Say it. How much?" Bai Hanmo asked domineeringly. 8 billion, Ning Shu said directly. Bai Hanmo just sneered. "Believe it or not, I won't let you get a penny." Ning Shu spread his hands and said, "Then I'll sell it to the Lien family for 6 billion. When Ning Shu talked about money, he felt a headache. Money in this world was too cheap. It was worth hundreds of millions. Some famous brands were worth tens of millions. It was too painful. Even the money was like Mary Sue. 20 million for a necklace. The inflation was too high. Then my mother and I can get 6 billion, Ning Shu said in an extremely casual manner. My mother and I are not people who know how to run a business, but the Ding family's technology is very good. No matter who gets it, it will be more than 6 billion. Bai Hanmo thought for a moment. Suddenly, the phone rang. Bai Hanmo glanced at Ning Shu and picked up the phone. He didn't know what was said on the phone, but Bai Hanmo's face became more and more ugly. 4 billion. Bai Hanmo stretched out 4 fingers. Ning Shu snorted. 8 billion, not a penny less. Don't push your luck. Bai Hanmo said coldly. I haven't settled the score with you for Ding Ningdi, and now you're blackmailing me. Ning Shu said expressionlessly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who buys it. Do you think someone will dare to snatch it from me? What do you think? Bai Hanmo asked. It doesn't matter. Someone wants the Ding family's company. The Ding family's company also had a foothold. This technology allowed the Ding family to gain a foothold in the business world. Some people coveted it. Wasn't this what Bai Hanmo wanted? 5 billion. 8 billion, 6 billion. 8 billion. Bai Hanmo's face turned ugly. 7 billion. Ning Shu nodded. Then it's a deal. Bai Hanmo's face turned as black as ink. Bai Hanmo was actually at a disadvantage. He came to buy the company behind his father-in-law's back without even informing him beforehand. The lawyer printed the contract, and Ding's mom and Bai Hanmo signed it. 7 billion was in his hands. Ning Shu and Ding's mom left the company hand in hand. As for what would happen to the company in the future, they didn't care. Follow those 2 people. After taking his money, he couldn't just let it go like this. It was also because of Ding Ningdi's leg. Ding Ningdi's leg was left with sequelae. She would usually feel a dull pain, especially when it rained. Her leg hurt so much that she couldn't sleep, even though there was nothing wrong with it. But she didn't know why it hurt. The crack in her bone had already healed, but it still hurt. She couldn't sleep well the entire night, moaning and groaning in pain. Ding Ningdi didn't look like she was faking it. Chapter 1447. Every time he saw Ding Ningdi in pain, Bai Hanmo wanted to tear the person who hurt Ding Ningdi into pieces. That was why they wanted to leave so easily after taking a huge sum of money. In their dreams, Ning Shu looked at the people who were following them through the rearview mirror and turned the steering wheel. Mom, let's sell all the company's shares, Ning Shu said. Sell them at a low price. Doing so would definitely cause the Ding family's company to lose a lot of assets and a lot of its market value. Are we really going to sell them? Ding's mom was a little reluctant. It wasn't easy for us to get so many shares. Ning Shu glanced at the rearview mirror. Mom, we took money from Bai Hanmo. Do you still expect the company to give us dividends? If they had shares, they would definitely get dividends from the company. However, it was very dangerous to be involved with Bai Hanmo again. Ning Shu stepped on the accelerator and turned left and right. Don't forget Ding Ningdi's legs, Ning Shu said. Ding's mom nodded. I'll listen to you. However, I said that I would put the beauty products you make under the Ding family's name. Now, it's impossible. Without the Ding family, my products will still sell well, Ning Shu said with a smile. When they got home, Ning Shu called Lien Min to thank her for her cooperation. The Bai family had a hand in every industry. They did everything they could, including electrical appliances, hotels, steel, and information products. They were like a bug in the system. However, the Bai family was very powerful. No one could do anything about them. The Bai family almost had a monopoly. This time, they had joined forces with the Lien family and the Li family. Only the two families had come forward, but many of them had secretly joined forces. Ding's mom sold the shares at a low price, causing the value of the Ding family's shares to drop a lot. The money disappeared just like that. However, Ding's mom also lost a lot of money. She only got back half of her capital. However, the 7 billion yuan was basically obtained without risking anything. The measures that had been taken previously had caused many people in the Ding family company to sell their shares. Ding's mom actually owned 60% of the shares. Therefore, when Ding's mom sold her shares, the other shareholders followed suit. Because the longer they delayed, the more money they would lose. The direct consequence of this was that Bai Hanmo's company would lose a lot of money in addition to the 7 billion that he had spent on the acquisition. He even spent money to buy low-priced stocks. That would add up to more than 10 billion yuan. Bai Hanmo felt very stifled, very stifled. Bai Hanmo was upset, and Ding Yen was even more upset. He felt betrayed, divorced, and stabbed by his ex-wife. Now that the company had become the Bai family's, Ding Yen lost a lot of money because of the decrease in the value of the shares. Not only was she betrayed by her husband, but she was also betrayed by her daughter. Ding Yen was so angry that he slapped Ji Lu several times, causing her to fall to the ground. Ji Lu covered her face and cried. You colluded with your daughter to set me up, didn't you? Ding Yen was so angry that his face turned blue. He grabbed Ji Lu's hair and said, What did you tell your daughter? It was just a loan, not for him to buy the company directly. Ji Lu's face twisted in pain as her hair was being pulled. She said, That's what I told Ning Dai. I didn't know that my son-in-law would buy the company directly. Ding Yen pulled Ji Lu's hair hard. Ji Lu raised her chin in pain. Ding Yen was not a gentleman. When he was angry, he even slapped his own wife. He didn't care about Ji Lu at all. The fear of losing the company made Ding Yen very irritable. There was a feeling of helplessness. He had lost everything. Without me, do you think that you and your daughter will have a good life? Do you think that you can have a good life by climbing up to the Bai family? Ding Yen roared. Ji Lu felt so innocent. What ability did she have to interfere with the Bai family's decision? Only her daughter's words had some effect in front of Bai Hanmo. She didn't know what Ding Ningdi said to Bai Hanmo. Could it be that Ding Ningdi didn't care about the company because of her man? Ji Lu's scalp was being pulled so hard that it hurt. Tears came down. This time, she was really crying. Her mascara was smeared, just like the dark circles under her eyes. She was in an unspeakable mess. Ji Lu could only endure the pain on her scalp. She felt that it was bleeding. Ding Yen felt so wronged. Bai Hanmo did save the company, but the company didn't belong to him. Moreover, he was unreasonable. He asked for help, but the other party bought the company directly. What else could he say? He felt so wronged that he wanted to die. He didn't know if Bai Hanmo would let him manage the company. He was afraid that he wouldn't even have the chance to manage the company now. Ding Yen weakly let go of Ji Lu's hair. Ji Lu, who was free, immediately ran away. Ding Yen was really scary like this. The position of Mrs. Ding was worse than being a mistress. A mistress had a lot of freedom. She could leave whenever she wanted. Mrs. Ding was just a fucking bondage. Ji Lu touched her scalp and felt that it was wet. Her hand was stained with blood. Crazy. Ning Shu took the 7 billion yuan that Bai Hanmo gave him and started to buy the Bai family's shares bit by bit. Bai Hanmo had spent so much money, but there was nothing left behind. Recently, the government had a bidding event for a piece of land. This piece of land could be auctioned for a sky-high price. The Lien family, the Li family, and many other wealthy families wanted to buy this piece of land. Ning Shu didn't want to participate in this kind of thing at all. He didn't have enough capital, but the other wealthy families had enough capital. Even if there were hundreds of families, they wouldn't be weaker than the Bai family if they joined forces. Therefore, the investment in this piece of land was extremely profitable. Many people wanted to buy this piece of land. However, Ning Shu knew that this piece of land would be abandoned in the end. The location looked very good, but in the end, an ancient tomb was dug out from the ground. The ancient tomb was buried very deep. Then, this piece of land should be handed over to the government. The Lien family, who bought this piece of land, suffered heavy losses. Ning Shu planned to take advantage of the Bai family on this matter. Especially since Bai Hanmo had already bled. If he bled more, the Bai family would be even weaker. However, Ning Shu was busy making the beauty cream now. Lien Min wanted to give this beauty cream to Ding Ningdi. She had apologized because of the competition for the Ding family's company. Even the Lien family was weak when facing the Bai family. She knew that Bai Hanmo cared about Ding Ningdi, so she asked Ning Shu to make something for her. Ning Shu's products were very effective. They had a good reputation among the madams and young ladies. In addition, there were only a few products and they were priceless. Therefore, they were very precious. Ning Shu nodded and agreed. Since it was a gift for Ding Ningdi, Ning Shu had to prepare it well. Not only did he prepare the facial cream, but he also applied the cream on her body. After applying this ointment, the skin would become white and incomparably smooth. Moreover, there would be a faintly discernible body fragrance. This was Ning Shu's big gift to Ding Ningdi. It would make her beautiful. The product that Ding Ningdi used was carefully formulated by Ning Shu. It took a lot of effort. He made the most perfect product. Chapter 1448. In order to prepare things for Ding Ningdi, Ning Shu really used up all of his cultivation. Especially the body paste. After it was done, Ning Shu considerately reminded her to apply it after bathing for the best effect. Then, Ning Shu informed Lien Min to come over and get it. Lien Min looked at the things Ning Shu made and nodded. "You're quite attentive. I thought it was for your sister, so I did it half-heartedly." Ning Shu laughed. "How could that be? If I did it half-heartedly, it would be destroying my reputation. I was afraid that she wouldn't use it because it was made by me." Lien Min glanced at Ning Shu and was about to leave with the things. Ning Shu asked, "I heard that you're going to bid." Lien Min said, "Of course. All the wealthy families in the city want this piece of land." Ning Shu shook his head. "There's so much competition. It must cost a lot of money." "Of course. My eldest brother and second brother are interested in this piece of land, Lien Min said. This piece of land is at least 10 billion yuan. Lien Min frowned. It's a little expensive. Ning Shu shook his head. You're exaggerating the value of a piece of land. Moreover, it's a real estate bubble now. It's going to burst if you poke it. Even if it's not a bubble now, it doesn't mean that it will always be so inflated. It's not worth it. Instead of fighting for a piece of land, it's better to do something else. Lien Min looked at Ning Shu. Don't screw me over again. I cooperated with you last time, and I was taught a lesson by my brother. This time, I asked you to make something to apologize to him. My brother was furious. He blamed me for rashly going against Bai Hanmo. Ning Shu had never dealt with Lien Min's brothers, but they spent so much money to buy a piece of land. Moreover, there was a group of ancient tombs underground. This group of ancient tombs was very big. It was the place where ancient families were buried. At that time, it caused a huge reaction. Then, this piece of land naturally could not be used for any other commercial purposes. Moreover, excavation work was not something that could be done in a day or two. Anyway, this piece of land was useless. Because of this, the Lien family's vitality was greatly damaged. Their money was wasted, and there wasn't even the sound of water splashing. Besides, Bai Hanmo has already lost so much money buying a company for his father-in-law. If the Beis can get this piece of land, wouldn't it be great? What's more, a piece of land is mud, and who knows what's under the mud? Ning Shu shrugged and spouted nonsense. You just want to take revenge on your fiancé and your sister. Why are you dragging my family into this? I'm not. I'm just advising you because there's no need to do so. If you have the money to buy a piece of land, you might as well get rid of the Bai family. If the Bai family wanted a small company to go bankrupt, it would be a matter of minutes. Because they had money, they could completely dominate the market. Even if there was a price war, others wouldn't be able to win. In the end, they wouldn't even be able to recover their capital. But the Bai family didn't care. The Bai family was a monopoly company. If they did not create such a deformed market economy, how could there be no regulations? The government would not care. Another possibility was that a company like the Bai family could contribute a lot of taxes, so the government would turn a blind eye to it. Previously, Bai Hanmo had wasted more than 10 billion yuan. If they could get this piece of land, it would be enough to make Bai Hanmo suffer. Lien Min only said, "Is my mother's beauty cream ready?" "It's ready." Ning Shu took it out from the freezer and handed it to Lien Min. Lien Min's face was gloomy and was about to leave. Ning Shu said to Lien Min, "You can't be wrong if you listen to me. That piece of land doesn't look good. The feng shui is not good." Lien Min couldn't help but sneer at Ning Shu, "You are superstitious. If you tell your father about this, your father will definitely have a knot in his heart. He won't spend a lot of money to buy this land." Ning Shu said to Lien Min. The Lien family's father was Lien Min's grandfather. He had a lot of prestige in the Lien family. Lien Min expressionlessly rolled her eyes at Ning Shu. "My two brothers have analyzed this piece of land. They think it's not bad. We should be able to get it. Those who believe in me will live forever. Anyway, that piece of land is not a good place. If it was a good place, why would it be abandoned?" Ning Shu said. "That's because the government said there was an important plan. That's why it has been abandoned until now." Lien Min said. "You believe that? Ask your father to find a feng shui expert to take a look. This piece of land is not good." Ning Shu said. Rich people were actually quite superstitious. "Okay, I'm leaving." Lien Min took her things and left. Ning Shu rubbed his eyebrows. He really didn't want the Lien family's money to be wasted. Although inflation was serious and it had a Mary Sue flavor, it was still money. Ning Shu turned on his computer and looked at the stock market. He slowly bought the Bai family's shares. He used the money Bai Hanmo gave him to buy the Bai family's shares. It felt so good. Ning Shu stared at the computer in a daze. He didn't know if Ding Ningdi would use her things. If she didn't waste all the effort he had put in. In fact, Ning Shu was quite concerned about Ding Ningdi and Bai Hanmo's happy life. Bai Hanmo had been so busy recently that he probably wouldn't get married until after this period of time. Lien Min went to visit with gifts. Bai Hanmo wasn't home during the day, so Ding Ningdi took care of Lien Min. Ding Ningdi saw that Miss Lien had brought her gifts, so she came to visit. This was the first time she had experienced something like this. Ding Ningdi was an illegitimate daughter, so these rich girls all looked down on her. Especially Bai Hanmo's high-profile marriage proposal a while ago, it was actually to push Ding Ningdi to the public. Originally, he wanted to show off his love, but he didn't expect that he would be stripped naked and scolded badly. Although she knew that it was for Bai Hanmo's sake, Bai Hanmo was her man. For a moment, Ding Ningdi felt a little smug. After accepting Lien Min's gifts, Lien Min said a few polite words to Ding Ningdi and asked Ding Ningdi to pass on the message. Ding Ningdi nodded and said that she would pass on the message. But when Bai Hanmo came back in the evening, Ding Ningdi didn't mention that Lien Min had come to visit. Ding Ningdi never got involved in business matters. She only needed to be responsible for the peaceful life. "What's the smell on you?" Bai Hanmo pressed Ding Ningdi's body and asked in a hoarse voice. Ding Ningdi's heart skipped a beat. Didn't he like the smell? She had taken a shower and applied the body ointment. She liked the smell of the body ointment very much. It was very good. If Bai Hanmo didn't like the smell, she wouldn't apply it in the future. "What smell?" "There's no smell. I just took a shower." Ding Ningdi looked at the person on top of her in confusion. Her confused look aroused his desire. Bai Hanmo smiled wickedly. "I like the smell. It smells sweet. I really want to swallow you." Bai Hanmo nibbled on Ding Ningdi's skin. His tongue slid over it inch by inch, sucking and nibbling with his teeth. He seemed to be addicted to the smell and kept licking it. Chapter 1449. Ding Ningdi's skin had an elegant fragrance with a hint of sweetness. Bai Hanmo's skin felt as if he was touching the best silk. It was extremely smooth. It made one's heart ripple. The ambiguous atmosphere was very strong, wild and romantic. Ding Ningdi was overjoyed. It seemed that Bai Hanmo liked this smell very much. Miss Lien's gift was indeed good stuff. Ding Ningdi hugged Bai Hanmo and went to bed with him. After they were done, Bai Hanmo hugged Ding Ningdi and buried his head in her neck, smelling her nice scent. It was a night of craving. After that, every time Ding Ningdi took a shower, she would apply the body ointment. She realized that this body ointment was really amazing. Not only did it smell good, sometimes she could smell a faint scent when she squatted down and stood up. It smelled indescribably good. Ding Ningdi smelled many perfumes in the mall, but she couldn't find this kind of perfume. It could also nourish her skin. After using it for a while, her skin was like silk. Her skin was delicate and her complexion was good. She looked much younger. Every time they made love, Bai Hanmo would hug her and nibble on her, tormenting her until she couldn't take it anymore. After that, he would hug her to sleep and treat her better and better. His gaze would become gentler and gentler. The amount of body ointment was small to begin with. Since she had to apply it to every corner of her body, it was used up very quickly. Ding Ningdi really liked this. She didn't like other facial creams. Ding Ningdi only liked this. Bai Hanmo also liked it. Ding Ningdi could only be thick-skinned and ask Lien Min where she bought this from. Lien Min was speechless. She didn't want her to give her a gift, did she? Lian Min found Ning Shu and asked Ning Shu to make some more body ointment. Ning Shu was speechless. She really used it. Ning Shu nodded to show that he knew how to make it. Did you tell your brothers about the land? Ning Shu asked. Speaking of this matter, Lian Min's expression did not look too good. My brother thinks this matter can be done, but he won't listen to me no matter what I say. He gave me a card and told me not to disturb them when I'm free. Do I look like someone who lacks money? Lian Min Ning Shu asked. It doesn't look like it. The dividends you've taken from me are enough for you to live a carefree life, Ning Shu said. I don't know if it's because you scared me on purpose, but when I looked at that piece of land, the more I looked at it, the worse it got. Lian Min said helplessly. Ning Shu asked, I didn't look for your father. The old man is currently traveling around the world, and we've lost contact with him. Lian Min was speechless as she continued, I'm a little worried. It's not like there's no way. Ning Shu said with a smile. You've tricked me so many times. I don't believe you, Lian Min said directly. This was a little awkward. In Lian Min's heart, her character was not good. What do you think there's a way? Lian Min asked. It was too expensive. If all the money was used to buy the land, what would happen if the company's capital chain was broken? Moreover, if they bought the land, it was uncertain when they would make a profit. Most importantly, Lian Min's heart was not very comfortable. Just secretly reveal your family's bidding price to Bai Hanmo. If Bai Hanmo really wants to buy this piece of land, his price will definitely be higher than your brother's bidding price. Ning Shu said with a black heart. And say that it's falsely high. At the bidding conference, each company would secretly give a price, and in the end, the highest bidder would win. Since they did not know the price of their competitors, all the companies participating in the auction would raise the price to avoid losing the bid. Lian Min glanced at Ning Shu. My brother will go crazy. How can that be? Although I don't deal with your brother, I think your brother must be a strong child who can withstand any blow. Ning Shu said very insincerely. Ning Shu mentioned this method, but she didn't know if Lian Min would use it. Moreover, it was the safest and most inconspicuous method. Make the food well. It seems that your sister likes the food you make. Lian Min waved Ning Shu's hand. Don't do anything fishy. Ning Shu spread his hands. I won't spoil my things. Ding Ningdi is not worth it. Lian Min nodded. I even invested in it. Don't do anything stupid. Lian Min left with a lot on her mind. Ning Shu made Ding Ningdi's body ointment according to the original formula. This time, he had to make more. It was enough for Ding Ningdi to rub on her body like she was wiping the wall. After the ointment was done, Lian Min delivered it to her. Ding Ningdi saw Miss Lian delivering the food to her like a delivery boy. She felt very strange. In the past, these arrogant rich ladies used to shine brightly at banquets. Now, they were actually delivering food to her. This was success. This was happiness. Ding Ningdi was overjoyed when she saw that there was so much body ointment this time. She quickly wanted to give Lian Min money. Did Lian Min look like someone who was short of money? At her level, it would be an insult to give her money. Lian Min politely refused Ding Ningdi's money. She told Ding Ningdi that if she could use it well, she could help promote it. Although Ding Ningdi did not know how much the ointment cost, it was definitely not cheap since it was so effective. Now, she was also someone who was being bribed with a lot of money. Everyone had vanity. Ding Ningdi felt very happy now, as if she was standing on top of a mountain and looking at everything. It was love that gave her this. After Lian Min left the villa, she ran to Ning Shu and complained that his illegitimate sister was so short-sighted. Ning Shu felt that Ding Ningdi was not bad. Although she was a little vain, she did not lose her composure. She probably wanted to pretend to be otherworldly in front of Bai Hanmo. Ning Shu listened to Lien Min's complaints as he busied himself with the work at hand. Bai Hanmo's company was really powerful. Until now, she had not bought many shares, probably not even 1%. But she had spent a lot of money. It was too easy. In fact, the existence of the Bai family hindered the market economy because the Bai family occupied a lot of resources. Many companies died before they could develop. Some died because they couldn't adapt to the market, and some new industries were plundered. Anyway, it was not a normal competitive economy. The economy would shake with a stomp of the foot. This was a very scary thing. The lives of the people were in the hands of these people. Even the capitalists controlled the country. Ning Shu sighed helplessly. Working together to get rid of the Bai family could solve these problems perfectly. Lien Min complained for a while, sighed and left. Ning Shu, why did she always complain to her? With the large amount of body ointment that Lien Min gave her, Ding Ningdi applied it almost every day after she took a shower. After applying it, Bai Hanmo always liked to hug and nibble on her. Anyway, it was very happy. Soon, the bidding and auction would begin. Ning Shu went to the site to take a look. Many people had come. Why was this piece of land so attractive? Anyway, Ning Shu could not understand. Chapter 1450. If they wanted to make a profit, they had to repair the house and sell it. Moreover, the house was not something that ordinary people could afford. Perhaps the main consumers were the rich. There was a saying that went, if you think that you will be as happy as you think you are when you have money, you are wrong. The happiness of the rich is beyond your imagination. How vicious. Buying land was a form of gambling. Bai Hanmo brought Ding Ningdi to the party. Ding Ningdi was wearing an exquisite handmade dress. Because it was custom-made, the dress was unique and attracted the attention of many women. Ning Shu looked at Ding Ningdi. Her skin was delicate and rosy, and her eyebrows were pure. Many men could not help but look at Ding Ningdi. Ding Ningdi was a very beautiful woman. Although she was not stunning, she made people feel comfortable. The more they looked at her, the more attractive she was. Sister. Ding Ningdi saw Ning Shu and let go of Bai Hanmo's arm. Ning Shu walked over. Sister, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time. Come home. Dad misses you. Ever since you left home, you haven't come back to see him, Ding Ningdi said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu stood up from his seat. He was speechless. She made it sound as if she was filial. She was still living with Bai Hanmo. Ning Shu smelled Ding Ningdi's scent. It seemed that Ding Ningdi really liked this body cream. What are you talking to her about? Come here. Bai Hanmo grabbed Ding Ningdi's arm and pulled her away. Ning Shu noticed that Bai Hanmo's eyes were a little bloodshot. He smiled silently. Ding Ningdi was pulled away by Bai Hanmo. Ning Shu also sat down. Because of Bai Hanmo's distinguished status, he sat at the front, while Ning Shu and Lien Min sat at the back. Lien Min said to Ning Shu, "See, I told you that your sister is petty. She's obviously the winner, but she still has to act like she's the weak one. It's as if she's being bullied by others. She's hiding needles in her words." Ning Shu said indifferently, "This is her way of doing things. She always put herself in the position of a victim, and she was the most innocent person in the world. Whatever she did was worthy of forgiveness. If others were to fuss about it, they would be heartless and unreasonable. You're so rich, you're so noble, and you're so powerful. Don't you feel embarrassed to be so calculative? If you want to be calculative, you are not noble and not benevolent." Ning Shu was very familiar with Ding Ningdi's tricks. He wanted to use the people around him to deal with her. She always looked like she was about to faint from fright. She was on the verge of collapsing, but she just wouldn't fall down. The auction began. Ning Shu straightened his back. Ning Shu was afraid that this piece of land would fall into the hands of the Lien family again. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Lien Min's calm expression. He then looked at the older brother of the Lien family, who was sitting at the front. It seemed that Lien Min had really done something to drag him down. You didn't leak the bidding price of your family's land, did you? Ning Shu elbowed Lien Min. Lien Min glanced at Ning Shu. No way. My brother will kill me. Then why are you so calm? Whether it's a blessing or a curse, I can't avoid it, Lien Min said like a hoodlum. Besides, it's not like we can't make money from this piece of land. Ning Shu felt a bit regretful. He clicked his tongue twice. The result of the auction was that Bai Hanmo won this piece of land. Moreover, the price was only slightly higher than the Lien family's. He won this piece of land for 12 billion. This piece of land was even more expensive than the Ding family's company. In less than half a year, Bai Hanmo had already spent more than 20 billion. Now, the Ding family's company was more like an empty shell. If Bai Hanmo won this piece of land, the 12 billion would have gone down the drain. Ning Shu couldn't help but curl his lips. However, the faces of the two older brothers of the Lien family darkened. Because their price was 11.5 billion. After the auction ended, Lien Min's second brother pointed at Lien Min and Ning Shu. Don't hang out with her. You've been fucking used as a tool. Second brother Lien said with a darkened face. Lien Min said innocently, second brother, what are you talking about? I don't understand. That's enough, second brother. If you didn't win, then so be it. Eldest brother Lien interrupted his brother and glanced at his sister and Ning Shu. When grandpa comes back, you can explain to him yourself. Eldest brother Lien took the lead and left. Second brother Lien snorted at Lien Min and chased after his brother. Ning Shu, I'm the most innocent one. Did you really do it? Ning Shu asked Lien Min. No way. God knows what's going on. Lien Min insisted to the end. Ning Shu felt that there must be something fishy going on. Otherwise, the price wouldn't be so close. Ning Shu looked at the lovey-dovey couple as they walked past her. Especially when he saw Bai Hanmo's bloodshot eyes, Ning Shu felt very happy. Dealing with Ding Ningdi was no fun. Dealing with Ding Ningdi's backer was more interesting. Ning Shu and Lien Min walked out of the auction banquet while chatting and laughing. A bodyguard came over and said to Lien Min, Miss, young master invites you over. Miss Ding, come with us. Ning Shu, what does it have to do with me? There was a Lincoln limousine parked on the side of the road. The bodyguard opened the door. Lien Min hesitated for a moment and lifted her skirt to get in. Ning Shu followed. The interior of the limousine was very spacious. Lien Min's eldest brother and second brother were also in the car. Eldest brother Lien directly said to Ning Shu, my sister is a simple person. Please don't use her in the future. Don't involve the Lien family in your business with the Bai family. Oh, Ning Shu said, then asked, what did I do? You just want to please Bai Hanmo and compete with your sister for Bai Hanmo. That's why you urged my sister to leak the price to you, second brother Lien said quickly. Ning Shu and Lien Min's faces darkened at the same time. Miss Ding, please don't disturb my sister anymore. The Lien family isn't that easy to talk to, eldest brother Lien said coldly. He was, after all, the boss of them all. He had a strong aura. Second brother was a bit noisy. He didn't act like a man. Ning Shu was speechless for a moment. He asked Lien Min, what should I say to your brother? Nothing. You can go now. I'll play with you when I'm free, Lien Min said. Ning Shu said, then he opened the door and got out. Ning Shu wasn't angry at the Lien brothers' attitude. After all, they loved their sister very much. Plus, they weren't fools. They all had some guesses. Ning Shu wasn't trying to please Bai Hanmo. He was trying to crush Bai Hanmo. Compared to losing everything that you once had would make you fall from the clouds into hell. It was worse than dying. The Lincoln limousine drove past Ning Shu. Ning Shu drove home. He took his time making prescriptions and buying the Bai family's shares. Ding's mom felt that her life was very fulfilling. She went abroad to have fun. Not to have fun, but to watch Fashion Week. Without Ding's mom by his side, Ning Shu didn't feel so restrained. Bai Hanmo had already cut the ribbon on the land he bought. Bai Hanmo wanted to turn the land into a high-end villa area. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.